Well, hello there, everybody. How's it going today? Welcome to another episode of the Audio Roast Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Jared Isaacs, and you are in for a treat. So, today we are going to go with a no guest needed kind of format. This is our second edition of what I call Talking Shop, which just means, doing a little house cleaning and connecting with you guys right here on the live stream. So, thank you for joining us. We'll just jump right in. No point in waiting around. We'll just jump right in the deep end. We're not going to mess with the pre-show today, obviously. It's just you and me. So, we'll just go right ahead. Oh. Okay, so, as always, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube. We're live streaming there right now. Today being special with the Talkin Shop, I decided to go ahead and also stream from my own personal Facebook page because I want to have as many people on board with this conversation as we can possibly get. So do me a favor also, and while you're watching, hit that share button. Maybe even tag some bandmates or some friends or your worst enemy, whatever. Just let's get some people in on this from here in the Springfield area specifically, because I've got some really good questions to talk about. Concerning the local scene, all the what's going on right now with the global bastard, if you will. So we'll get into all that. So be sure to check out our other social media, Instagram and Twitter. If you want to see kind of a heads up of what's coming down the pike with future shows, I post every future show that's already got people scheduled and confirmed right there on Twitter. So follow us there on Twitter as well as Instagram. And if you're not one that wants to watch a 2-hour show kind of thing, if you'd rather put your headphones in and just give it a listen, there's audio only episodes to catch up on, and they're released every Monday morning. So that way you can start the week out with the audio roast if you've missed us tonight. So you can find those on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and Podbean. And of course, as always, you can shoot us an email at theaudioroastpodcast@gmail.com with any comments or concerns. Scott, how's it going? I see you, brother. You're doing good. Be sure to follow us on all of those. And in case you missed our big announcement last week, I actually went ahead and started up a Patreon channel. That was Tequila Jared chiming in there. I went ahead and set up a Patreon channel, and I've got some really cool content there with more stuff coming in the future. So what you see is not all that you're going to end up with. I've done music video reacts and reviews. So some of the stuff that I've reacted to, I haven't even seen before. One or two of them I've seen before, but it had been a while, so I kind of did more of a review, like what made it great or what really made it suck. Kind of growing off of the covering covers segment on the show, if you will, to where we kind of roast or toast people. So you can find that again over on the Patreon channel for the Audio Roast. That's patreon.com/the Audio Roast Podcast. And then, if you aren't really privy to signing up for a monthly membership and you just want like a one-time or once every once in a while kind of thing to donate and help the show out, you can do so via Cash App or PayPal at the Audio Roast Podcast as well. So that is that. And of course, as always, at the end of each show, I post a playlist that's available for you to listen to on both Spotify and iTunes. And what that is some of the games and segments that we do here on the show obviously revolve around certain genres or years and that kind of thing. And so I take all those and create an entire playlist. So it's, like I say, it's really cool to listen to on your drive to work, or if you're working out, or if you're just chilling at home and, maybe cleaning or something and you want a good playlist. That's a really good companion piece for the show. So you can check that out. Now, obviously today we don't have games. We don't have any of that kind of stuff. There's no playlist today. However, there is a playlist up for next week already when we have our Van Halen episode. So if you want some good content for Van Halen, if you're a Van Halen fan, both Sammy and Dave, there's a good playlist up already, and it'll give you a head start for what's to come next week. So, let's jump here to these comments real quick. Josh Poole, good afternoon. I have shared. I appreciate you very much, Josh. Thank you. Scott, you're in for a treat, my friend. Brian, how's it going, buddy? What's up with you? What's up? Let's see here. Scott Henry. Oh, it's a money thing. Well, it's no different, Scott, from paying a cover to come see a good band, like the Dirty Saints or somewhere of the sort. If you want good content, you want to be entertained. If you want to be entertained, you must pay the price. Or at least, donate a little something. It starts out at $3. It's not. I'm not asking for an arm and a leg. I'm just asking for a pinky finger maybe. So yeah, Wes McIntosh, what's up? Gonna watch as much as I can. Working on my house. Good seeing you, Jared. Good to see you too, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Keep us on in the background, even if you walk away. It's still good audio content. So Roger George, man, how's it going? Hey, Jared, looking good, buddy. Well, thank you. Good to see you. Good to see all of you guys. Sammy and Dave, Brian, both of them are on the playlist for next week. So yeah, you people. All right, so that's our playlist. Now we're gonna do a new segment here. We're gonna do Today in Music History. I think I'm gonna start featuring this on the show going forward. So yeah, I went ahead and put some people to work in my research department, and we've got a lot on the docket for Today in Music. Today being August the 16th. So, Deb Klein says, I got to make coffee. Well, when you get it, raise it up and give us a toast. It's so good. So good! Tom Henry, woohoo! What's up, Tom Henry? Stacey Haney, how's it going? Yeah, so, Scott, quit with the spoilers. Okay, so, today in this day in music history, let's get started. In 1962, Ringo Starr replaces Pete Best as the Beatles' drummer, and his first official concert with the band was 2 days later. Can you imagine joining the biggest band in the world and having a concert 2 days after you join? That's an insane thought, is it not? I think so. Yeah. So, in 1969, today was the second day of the Woodstock Festival in New York. As Scott says, that was 51 years ago today. Scott, right on top of the math. Good job, buddy. Proud of you. That kind of math skills, I would think you're a drummer. But you're not. And then in 1974, the Ramones made their concert debut at New York City's CBGB's. Very cool. I'll be honest, I never really got into the Ramones, but I definitely appreciate what they brought to the table and what inspiration they garnered in so many people in the punk genre. They just had a totally different attitude, and it was very welcome. It was very much, it would go on to inspire great bands such as like Guns N' Roses, for example, which I'm a huge fan of. So I do give the Ramones their props. I just never got into their music. So that's that. Also, in 1980, Mr. Bill Ward quits Black Sabbath. That was quite a day in heavy metal history. Yeah. So, and then in 1987, Bon Jovi released their third album, Slippery When Wet, which went on to be Billboard's top-selling album of that year in 1987. Some of the hits off that record, of course, were You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, Wanted Dead or Alive, and a little song called Never Say Goodbye. So, it was a mega, mega hit. Josh Poole says, how was it? I think he's asking Scott, how was Woodstock? Of course, he had to have been there. Rich and I are here working in the garage, Lena says. Well, I love that you got some good audio going in the background while you work. Just make sure you whistle while you work. Roger says, I just realized 9 years ago today, Il Morte met for the first time. Well, there you go. There's another one this day in history. Yeah. And Scott says, Bill Ward was replaced by Bev Bevan from ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. And that is correct. Moving right along. In the year 2000, the band Lifehouse had a big single called Hangin' by a Moment that was released in 2000 and went on to be the Billboard Song of the Year the following year in 2001. So some notable birthdays today include, let me get my mouse here, Madonna, born in 1958. I think that makes her 66 years old. American actress and singer. She was born in Bay City, Michigan. Also in 1980, Vanessa Carlton, American singer and songwriter, was born in Milford, Pennsylvania. If you don't know this song, just watch the movie White Chicks, and you'll know exactly what song this is. Making my way downtown. Yeah. So that's Vanessa Carlton. Those are notable birthdays today. On the contrary, a notable passing, however, was the king of rock and roll himself, Mr. Elvis Presley. Yeah, he was found dead, and his autopsy ruled it as cardiac arrhythmia. He died 43 years ago today in 1977. So, yeah, at the age of 42. Pretty crazy. Yeah, let's see here. Let me jump back over here to the comments. Deb says, the death of Elvis. And Josh Poole says, now every cover band has to play Living on a Prayer. Yes, indeed. I won't even comment on that because I've played it before, but yes. There's many Bon Jovi hits that need to be played if you're in a cover band, but at the same time, that doesn't make them any better of a song, shall we say. So, yeah. And so let's recap last week. We had Mr. Tyler Weeks join us on the Country Music from 1995 episode, along with Mr. Kelly Bowman of the Dirty Saints. And, yeah, we had a lot of fun festivities, a lot of yeehawing, and actually some really good country music. That was a good year that kind of doesn't really jump off the charts for a lot of people, but they had a lot of really good hits came from that year. And a lot of artists that went on to have really, really big names, kind of just getting their start, maybe on their first or second album in that year. So that was a really cool thing because there was a lot of hidden gems, if you will. And of course, next week we have got Mr. Greg Frazier, and from the band Fair Warning and Useless Idiot. There's all kinds of projects he's in, and as well as Mr. Jeff Ward, also from the Dirty Saints, that's going to be joining us in our third installment of Classic Album Clash, where we take two Van Halen albums and go track by track, 1984 versus 5150, and we'll take track 1 versus track 1, track 2 versus track 2, on down through all of the tracks on the albums, and kind of decide one by one which one is the better album, which one is the better track, I should say, and the one with the most track wins will be determined officially the better album. So that is next week. That was going to be this week, but schedules and stuff, we pushed it back. No big deal. So that's why we have today, we're doing a little Talkin' Shop. So go ahead down in the comments. Let's hear what you guys want to talk about. I posted this early in the week, so it gave people kind of a chance to think of some things that they have on their mind or things that they want to have discussed. So yeah, if you've got stuff that you would like to talk about, put them down below in the comments, and we'll chat about it. We'll do it. Deb Klein says, I cannot wait to watch next week. I can't either. I cannot wait to have the discussion. I've said before, we are either going to hug and agree, or we're going to throw fists and somebody's taking the window, or somebody's going to take the stairs, and we'll become worst enemies. Who knows? I do know that it's going to be a very split thing, but I'm going to try my best to instill that this is not Dave versus Sammy. This is an album versus an album. It just happens to have two different singers. So I'm going to try and keep the train on the tracks, but it may be a lost cause, so we'll see. Deb says she loves Bon Jovi. I love them too. I really do. It's just, man, I wish they weren't so overplayed and overdone. And it's not always great when people play it either. Sometimes it's just okay, and that kind of brings it down a couple notches for me. So that's that. Denise Isaac says, anything but the coronavirus. Yeah, we won't be discussing that too much, but if conversation leads us there due to local shows not happening as much and limited seating and that kind of stuff, then we'll talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about anything. So, yeah, Denise says she can't wait for next week either. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and I'm waiting for you guys to jump in the comments, give me something to talk about, and yeah. I'm going to go ahead. We'll take our first break. Give you guys a chance to formulate some thoughts and ideas, some questions for me, whatever you have. And yeah, I'll be back in just 1 second.
I have just one question. Have you thought about being a guest on the show? We are currently seeking music lovers of all kinds to join in on our fun. If you're interested in being a guest, or if you just have questions, comments, or suggestions, you can message us on Facebook or email us at theaudioroastpodcast@gmail.com. You can also submit any topics you'd like to hear discussed.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and jump down to the comments section. Brian says, good luck with the train for the Van Halen. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that's going to be a train to keep on the tracks. It is not going to be an easy job. So, but then again, to be honest, anytime that we do the Classic Album Clash series or even the Tournament of Champions, it's always hard, right? Because we've always got our emotional ties, or, you know, certain songs take us back to a certain point in our lives and that kind of thing. And it's really hard to kind of separate that from the actual song or the actual album and that kind of stuff. So it's hard to stay biased in that respect. Not even just for me, but the people that I have on the show. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's the human nature. That's us connecting with music the way that it was intended for us to. So that's that. Josh Poole says, did you hear In the Air Tonight is charting number 2 due to a React video that went viral on YouTube? I did hear that. And I think that's really freaking awesome. I actually watch a lot of React videos, and I like watching them from different perspectives. You know, I've seen a lot of like the hip-hop guys reacting to rock and metal. Some of my favorites, being a singer, is watching vocal coaches react to things and give critiques about technique and style and that kind of stuff for singers. I think that's really cool. In fact, stay tuned, because on Patreon, I think we're going to be doing a little bit of that. So, yeah, I'll be bringing in a vocal coach, and we'll be talking about it in a teacher and student kind of capacity versus just a teacher or just a coach kind of thing. So, because I've taken vocal lessons in the last, year or two, whatever. So, I think that'll be an interesting perspective that you don't see all the time on YouTube. So, Richard says, what niche does Springfield need to fill? Like, as what type of band is underrepresented, and who wants to do a Beatles cover band with me? Well, there you go. You need to have your Ringo Starr today, Richard, because today is the day that Ringo Starr joined the Beatles. So you got to keep it on track. If you're gonna do a tribute, you got to do it right. Good question. We'll get back to that in just a second. About how many local bands are there in Southwest Missouri? Jesus, I don't know. I'm gonna guess 500. I don't know. Sounds about right. I mean, you figure. I mean, I'm sure it's more than that, because you figure at least 100 per town. Well, so obviously, like your smaller towns like Mansfield and Ava and Seymour and Carthage and stuff like that probably aren't going to have 100, but they'll have a handful. And of course, what do you consider a band? Do you consider two friends that get together with two acoustic guitars and sit out on the front porch and just pick and grin? Is that a band? I mean, so what constitutes a band? That's kind of a hard question, but I think you'd be surprised at how many musicians there are. I can definitely say that's easier to kind of pinpoint, and there is ungodly amounts. People that you go and watch play don't even represent probably, not even a third of the population that plays music and that are musicians. Like right here, Deb Klein comes to mind. Deb isn't in a band, but she posts videos of her singing on her Facebook page all the time, and it could very easily be in a band. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. Deb says, same thing that happened with Rat, with the Geico commercial. That's exactly right. But that commercial, I'm happy for him, but it also pisses me off. And here's why. Who do you recognize in the video? One, maybe two people? Yeah. Everybody else, if you look, are all like model stand-ins. They're not even people in the band. So, like specifically the drummer. I'm happy for them that it gains them some more success, but at the same time, at what price? But it's hard to call a band a sellout that's, they're so far beyond that. Like, it doesn't matter what they do. It's okay if they sell out. Like, they need to do whatever they can to sustain their name, and I'm fine with that. Blues Brothers style with a good horn section. Okay, so there used to be a really good band, Brian, and I think that they only played like once a year, maybe twice a year, and that was J.M. Buttermilk, and it was like the J.M. Buttermilk Review or something like that, and they play at the ballroom, and it's got a lot of local favorites. It's kind of a super group, if you will, and they do like James Brown. I mean, they have like not just a horn section, but a backup, a trio of backup singers and stuff. It's a full production, and it is absolutely kick ass. So yeah, Scott Henry, rest in peace, Pete Way, UFO, and Wasted, Ozzy Osbourne, and Fast Away. That's correct. We lost Pete this week, and that was a sad loss because, yeah, he contributed a lot in a lot of bands that never gave him credit, or he just, from fans, maybe never got the credit. I don't know the proper way to say that, but he's always under everybody's radar for some reason. Correct. Next. Want a right-handed bass player, Richard? Well, I think, Scott, aren't you already in another project with some right-handed bass coming up? I think. Putting you on the spot. Ashley D, how is it going, my sweet? I remember all the rap rock shows that happened years ago in the downtown Springfield area. Some of the best times and best music diversity. Absolutely. Yes. Man, it was a hopping scene. It was like the metal scene and stuff took a dive in the like early 90s, and then like I'm sorry, in the mid to late 90s, I guess. In the early 90s it was still banging. It was still happening. But yeah, later on, in the early and mid 2000s, it was another big boom for like the rap rock shows and stuff like that. I can remember Steven's band and my band playing shows together like non-stop, and it was a great time. Scott Henry says, for your rat issues, call Priority Pest Control. Yeah, we might talk about that next week whenever Mr. Jeff Ward joins us for the Van Halen episode. Co-owner of Priority Pest Control right here in Springfield, Missouri. There you go. You're welcome, Jeff. Your bill is in the mail. Deb Klein, I was in my first band with Greg Fraser in high school. I was the bass player, and we all sang. What was the name of the band, Deb? That is fantastic. And also, why are you no longer in a band? Why do you have that talent? And, like, man, you need to be in a band, Deb. I love you, and I love watching you sing by yourself at home, but my goodness, get back out there, girl. I challenge you to do so. You've got a lot of local artists that would be happy to be in a band with you. How can we get non-musicians back in the clubs? That is another fantastic question, and I'm going to write that one down so that I can remember, because my memory is zilch. So, in my usual, what Josh likes to call my Unabomber style, I will start taking my notes. Which I do already have some of. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, see, where did it go? I have a whole list of notes that I didn't even get to. I skipped over. So Josh says, how can we get non-musicians back into the clubs? First of all, I'm assuming you're talking about once we're actually able to get capacities back up a little bit, and kind of back into somewhat of a norm, if you will. But that's a good question. And my initial answer for that is going to be that I think a lot of that has to do with quality and quantity, but not in the sense that you would think of quantity. Quantity in not overplaying and not oversaturating your own brand. I think that's very important, and I think it's kind of insane to me how many bands don't understand that concept. That how many bands don't understand the concept that you can absolutely outplay and outstay your welcome by doing too much, and it's not a good look. It's just not. So, let me see if I can address this a little bit. Nope, not that way. There we go. Good enough. Yeah. So, I think a lot of it too is here's something that I've thought for a long time. And as you guys know, this is kind of a project of mine to try and unify we have different circles in Springfield with our live music scene, right? We've got the downtown original, the metal and that kind of stuff. We've got the up north, commercial street kind of thing with the indie and the singer-songwriter kind of thing. And then we've got, midtown and south of town, that kind of thing with the cover bands and that kind of stuff. And I know they cross a little bit here and there, but overall it seems so like divided. Like I can literally say this person belongs with this group, this person belongs with this scene, that kind of thing. And it's very few of us mix. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a lack of awareness of one another, or if it's, I'll be honest, if it's elitism, is it, oh, those guys in the cover band's like, I'm better than that, or I'm above that, or vice versa. Cover bands that, oh, we get, 200 or 300 people in here, or 500 or 1,000 people in here, and your original band only brings 6 people. So why are we not helping each other out? Why are we not piggybacking off of each other and helping each other grow? And I think that speaks to a lot of what Josh is asking too. When people see that, that's when people get invested and want to come out and see more music. People that aren't even musicians, right? It's no different from watching, Survivor or The Bachelor or whatever crap TV there is anymore. I don't even watch TV anymore. But it's the same thing. You get invested in the person, not just the concept. So not just the genre or not just the scene or the side of town. It's the people. It's the reason I do this. That's the reason that Dan and Tara have a podcast of their own and interview local people and whatnot. It's to get you to invest in the people that are making the music. And I think that carries a lot of weight in getting people to come and see your shows. I really do. And I'm open to hearing other philosophies or thoughts on that, if you will. But that's something I've always thought. The other thing too, as a lot of you might know, I'm a huge fan of wrestling. Okay, I'm a nerd. Is what it is, and I'm fine with it. So whether it's in wrestling or if it's whatever your daily job is, you don't just go there and show up and you're expected to know everything, all the ins and outs of your job, right? You get trained by the people that are there before you and that have seniority over you, and they have a trickle down of knowledge and information that happens. And there's not always that in the Springfield or probably in any local music scene, to be honest. It's kind of a you're thrown to the wolves, survival of the fittest kind of thing, and there's not a lot of helping each other up or stopping where you are to like help somebody that's new and up and coming. Like that's also Red Light Runner and Damsel. That's also why we talk about them on the show. That's why I talk about them on my show, is to get them some exposure and some notoriety. And I'm trying to do my part to reach up and help them out. I've got a delivery. 1 second. And this is an important delivery too. Of course, it wouldn't be the Audiorus podcast without a fresh pot of coffee. Am I right? Yeah, and I do drink more than a pot of coffee during an episode. I've got 1 cup here, and I've got 4 cups in the pot. So we're just getting started, baby. Let's see here. I'm going to jump back into these comments before some of your guys' stuff gets buried. You guys are bringing up some really, really good points, so I appreciate that. Deb says, Fastway kick butt. Yes, I did. My old band, Sunset Strip and Rat Poison, used to do Say What You Will. And, it's going to be topical soon, but the movie Trick or Treat. What a fantastic movie and what a fantastic soundtrack. Lots of Fastway. So, yeah. Joe Bagley, early 90s metal scene was at its peak. That's what I hear, Joel. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the area for that, but the all-around consensus is that's exactly right. And it wasn't like any small thing. My drummer in my metal cover band, Brian Stokes, who was a drummer for us in Sunset Strip, we all had a conversation at our last band practice last week about this. And, of course, he and my guitar player, Richard Brantner, were in Forever Shadows at kind of in this time. They were talking about how big and how over the scene was. You go to see a metal show now, and if on a good day, you'll have maybe 100, 200 people there. On a bad day, you'll have, the other band that you're playing with, so 6 people. And it didn't used to be that way. It would be like 300 to 400 people every show. You had your Public Assassins and so many big bands that were from the area and heavy metal. And now it's like, and we'll get into that. I've got some questions prepared too. But that's not the case anymore. I don't know why, but there's still a lot of musicians that want to play that. So you would think that there would be a lot of demand for that still. Deb Klein says Legacy, I'm assuming was the name of the band, with my brother, which of course is Bill Klein from Love Bomb, and Terry Lawson and Scott Snow, and they were all kids. So yeah. So Deb, have you played with anybody since? And if not, why not? Kim says, in my opinion, it's hard to follow who is playing where, what kind of music, etc. The advertising isn't there. I do agree. Now here's the thing too, and let's keep this in mind. Advertising in 2020 is changing a lot. You've got the news leader, and they still have their section of what's happening in the nightlife and that kind of stuff. That you've got Springfield After Hours. It's an easy follow on Facebook. That's always promoting upcoming shows and events and bands and that kind of stuff. You've got people like my friend Brenda Fulbright, who from Raven Angel Photography, who also has 417 Entertainment, another easy follow on Facebook, and for free, just goes out of her way. And I don't know if she still does. I don't want to pressure her into doing this if that's not the case. But for a long time, for like over a year or two, for no charge, no fee, no nothing, would just reach out to everybody and every venue and all this and list, here's what band's playing where, here's kind of a synopsis of the band, that kind of stuff. And so I think it's important to know where to look. Obviously, radio and TV are the biggest advertisers, but your local musicians and stuff can't afford that. And so unless they're asked to be on, like Ozarks Live at 4, I think is what it's called. Death May Die was on there, but that was before they actually had people playing music on there, so you couldn't even hear us. It's neither here nor there. There's still ways to find that stuff out. It's just very hard. Many people don't even get the newspaper anymore. They'll subscribe to the newsletter online or whatever, but I don't know even that even the people that do, I don't think they even actually read the paper. They're just able to click on links and stuff that you find on Facebook. So I do think it's harder, and I do think it's unfair that it's harder to have to look, but it is the way that it is. My suggestion would be to like the venues that bands play at. And usually, most times, venues are really good about helping promote shows most of the time. Josh Poole says, does Priority Pest Control handle raccoons? I got raccoons in my attic. Well, I don't know if they do raccoons, but they definitely do toys. Toys are in the attic. Just saying. Jason Laughlin says, I personally think that Napster karaoke DJs are what definitely killed music in at least Central Illinois. Correct and wrong. You're correct that it killed a kind of the structure of the music industry as far as record labels and record deals and that kind of stuff. Let's see here. I'm gonna reread this. I personally think that Napster and karaoke DJ and DJs are what definitely killed music. I don't know about DJs, and I'm not necessarily sure about karaoke, but Napster for sure killed a lot of music and even live music all over the United States, all over the world, right? It's one thing to go and to like a song that comes on the radio, let's say, and man, I want to hear that song, but I don't want to sit there and wait. It used to be you had to wait until you got lucky and heard the song on the radio before you heard it again if you didn't already own the album. So another option was, I know that this band here locally plays it live, so I'll go and watch them. So I will give you credit there that I do think that might have had a hand in also notching out some people that support local music. That's a good point. Scott Henry says, "We are the world." Yep, that we are. Josh says the last couple gigs I went to were at least 80% musicians. I agree, and especially Josh during all this COVID and pandemic and social distancing and blah 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 crap. I agree. The people supporting music right now are musicians. And I don't know why that is. I know that we're all in this together as far as musicians. So I get that. And I think that is a fantastic thing for musicians to be supporting other musicians. I think that should always be the case. I think there should always be a big majority of people that are at your shows that are musicians. However, I think that it shouldn't be a majority of the people that are there that are musicians. It should be a lot of people that don't even play that just really dig your music and want, even if they just want to support local art, local musicians, that kind of thing. If they don't play, that's really who should be a majority of your crowd. Another big point to be made is youth. A lot of who are we playing to matters, in my opinion. You know, you think about the bands that have been successful. You think about the Beatles. We were talking about the Beatles earlier. You talk about we were talking about the Ramones. Man, I'm trying to think. Backstreet Boys. It doesn't matter. Like all these people, who do they cater to? They cater to youth, the people that are young, the people that are like, "Hey, mom and dad, I want to go and see this show. Buy me tickets." And then when they get there, "Oh, I want this T-shirt. Buy me a T-shirt. Oh, buy me this album. Buy me this poster." That's always what the music industry has been marketed and targeted for and to is youngsters, people with angst, people with feelings that they want to get out, and this is their avenue. Not so much, to a certain extent, but not so much people that are wanting to hear music of their childhood or relive some nostalgia and that kind of stuff. That's why you have so many people that are local musicians supporting each other. It's music they enjoy, and maybe their band doesn't get to play, or music they would like to play, but they're not in the right band to do so, that kind of thing. I think a lot of it has to do with what are we playing that young people like? That's really few and far between, and I don't think we challenge ourselves enough to do that. We're kind of in a safety zone right now, I feel like, with local music. We play what we grew up listening to and stuff, not what, and I'm talking originals and covers. Like, how many bands are out there covering Lizzo or Katy Perry or Taylor Swift, or, you know, insert name here? Somebody within the last 10 years. Very few. Most people are 70s, 80s, and 90s. Maybe some 2000s. But even that, hello, that's 20 years ago already. So I think that's a big part of it too, right? Is the youth. People, you know, here's Kim is forever wanting to have shows that she can bring her son to, who's 16 now, 17, 15, whatever. It's, you know, like, can he get into places where you have to be 21? Because no, he can't. But he's an aspiring musician. He's learning to play piano and stuff, and you know, he should be able to have the same exposure and influence as fellow musicians do. I'm not here to toot my horn whatsoever, but my band Sunset Strip, we did a in-store show at Springfield Music a couple years ago, and Kim was able to bring her son because it was an all-ages thing. That inspired her son to pick up a keyboard, because that's what I played in the band, and to learn how to play. And you know, I mean, man, we could snowball this into so many different conversations, but that's the thing too. Like, not only are we not playing to younger people, we're not inspiring a lot of younger people. Look around at your fellow musicians. How old are they? When's the last time you played a show where the musician was like, "Man, I hope the bar lets me in. You know, I'm only 15. But man, I'm a great musician," and we don't have that anymore. That's something you hear stories about. So yeah, I think overall, like, we need to do our part to bring more youth into the scene. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean like you got to go scout them? No, that means that whenever something happens and you see somebody, you know, like right off the top of my head, I'm thinking the verbing nouns. Dan Fritz from Machine Gun Symphonies, formerly, his son had a band, Elvis, called the Verbing Nouns. Where was all the support for that? Where was everybody saying, "Hey, come play with us, come open with us"? It didn't happen. Now, you could say, well, of course, he was, you know, his dad was in Machine Gun Symphony at the time, so of course that was a hand-in-hand thing. Cool. But still, where was everybody reaching out for, here, I want you on my show? You know, it's at the end of the day, it's a business, right? To be in a band. You have marketing, you have promotion, you have so many things that go in line with any other business. And I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily fire on all cylinders with that, or they are really strong on one aspect of it, but not another. It's very hard and very seldom to find somebody that is a promoter, that is a great marketer, In the corporate industry, those are two different people with two different positions. So it's hard to find that combination, right? That's why you have, I'll be honest, that's why you have bands like the Dirty Saints or Members Only or Machine Gun that do really well with that, because they do have somebody that's really good at marketing, and or somebody else, whether it's themselves that's really good at promoting, or somebody else in the band that's really good at promoting. Like, they have more cogs in the wheel of success in their band. They don't just get up on stage and play and expect, oh, people will like us and they'll follow. There's so much more work that goes into being a successful band than just showing up and playing. And I think that that's something that people brush over and don't take into account. I saw something else on Facebook this week, and I know with the bands that I work with, this is a big thing, and it's also kind of been a thing for me in the past. Obviously, with Death May Die, it's a huge thing. It's like my biggest thing. But look at the part. You don't. I mean, look at what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a t-shirt and camo shorts. How many bands did you see last weekend that looked just like what I look right now? A lot of them, right? Bad deal. You got to dress the part. You've got to separate yourself from the crowd. Again, I said I was a big wrestling fan, right? If you know who Ric Flair is, he was like the most well-dressed person in wrestling that there ever was. His great advice was, if you want the attention, if you want to stand out from the crowd, don't look like you belong in the crowd. It's that simple. Dress for the part you want. Just like if you're at a job, if you're at work and you want that position in management, but you're showing up in jeans and a t-shirt, guess what? It shows that you don't really care enough to want to do better. So you got to dress for the part. Now, that doesn't mean, a three-piece suit and a tie, or, a cocktail dress. That just means, maybe some slacks and a button-up. It doesn't have to be crazy. So there's so many again, what I call cogs in the wheel to success for local bands. And some of the local bands, as great as they are, they're missing a cog or two, or they're not aware enough to say, hey, we're missing this. So we're going to reach out to somebody that can help us out. Again, I think of Red Light Runner. Obviously, Deb Shelton is helping manage them, and maybe that's a part of why. She's very good at a lot of that. So, and there's a lot of people that are. Deb Klein also is a fantastic person to share and promote local bands and stuff. And kudos to her. I say it all the time, but I feel like I can't say it enough. So yeah. Again, I'm getting buried in the comments, so I'm gonna try and stay on track and keep in touch with you guys here. So, Deb says, I don't get all that. I've seen some kick-ass original bands. I wish. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have been trying to stay closer on the comments with this. There are some original kick-ass bands, 100%. What did I say that you don't get, Deb? And I'll when you reply, I'll respond immediately. So yeah. Stacy Haney says, bingo, give that man a cigar or a cup of Joe. There you go. Joel says all the heavy bands used to play together, and correct. That is very true. I mean, even my band, Death May Die, played with Public Assassin, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Joel, but I believe that was their big reunion show, perhaps. That was like in the 2010, 15 something era, whatever that was. So yeah. Scott Henry says, so I hear Spotify is no longer paying for songs with no vocals on them. I didn't know that. That's news to me. I'll have to look into that, Scott. That's good to know. Deb says, I think with cover bands, you know what you're getting, and original bands is a crapshoot. You don't know what you're getting 100%. And so there's a balance there too, right? So this is a touchy one because there's no right or wrong answer, and whatever a person feels is right or wrong for them. So I'm not saying what I'm about to say to shit on them or to downplay whatever their thought process or tactic or whatever. But here's this. I understand that being in a band is costly, and I understand that being in a recording studio is very costly. But here's the deal. You can't, just exactly like what Deb is saying, you can't go and record and front the cost yourself and then make a CD and expect to sell it and reimburse yourself. I feel that that's a bad tactic. If you want to go to a recording studio, front the fee, stop, consider it a loss, make CDs, consider that a loss, and then if you want to sell them for $1, $5, $10, give them away, whatever. That's how you get your name out there. And nobody, I mean, postering used to be a thing where you would literally like go up and take your poster and onto a street pole or whatever, tape it to a building or staple it to your best friend's ass. I don't know. And that's not even a thing anymore. Anymore, a flyer, that's what a flyer is. It's just a virtual something you put on Facebook or something and share it. And that's all it is. And you can't expect people to know what you sound like based on a picture. Period. You can't. So my point to that is, if you are in a band and you're wondering why you don't have shows, man, give it away. Give it away. It's not worth the battle of trying to sell your album and make several $100s off of a local musician when hello, people like Deb Klein who know so many bands and share so many bands and help with so many bands when she still doesn't know what your band sounds like. That's a bad deal. So I don't care if it's in a physical CD that you hand to somebody. I don't care if you've got, these kind of things and you're just passing them out and here you go. And use it, my band used to do that and we'd say, use it as a coaster or throw it in your CD player. Just take it. Either way, we're happy. Meaning it's up to you. We've done as much as we can. We've, like the horse is right there getting ready to drink the water. It's up to you. But people don't even do that anymore. Post your live stuff on YouTube or Facebook. Don't rely on other people. I know you think, I've done this. It's easy to think. Let me move this comment off here. You'll be performing and you'll see somebody recording you and you're like, oh, okay, so it's probably like they're probably live on Facebook. So that means that people will get to see my band. You don't know if they've got 2 people watching or 200 people or if they're, taking a selfie. You don't know these things. And by the way, when you're out there recording, do it this way. Don't do it this way. Sideways, not long ways. I digress. My point is, get it out there. Get what you're doing out there. And I'm not talking a poster, a digital poster like this kind of thing. That doesn't do squat. If I was in a band and this was my band poster, like that would suffice to, put on Facebook or make an event, but that's not the sole thing that gets people to shows. And I feel like so many people rely on that. So yeah, you got to get it out there, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, but you have to be the one to do it. You can't rely on, the Deb Kleins that go out and watch all the bands and stuff. You can't expect her to give your band exposure. You have to do the work yourself. You have to put in the legwork yourself. Chris Schneider says, I keep hearing about how bands been canceled due to COVID. We've played every weekend besides 2 this year and are booked every Saturday until November. I think that's fantastic. I'm not going to say that I know anything about bands being canceled, but I know that bands have canceled, and that's just due to their own standpoint or point of view on the subject, on the matter, that they feel safer just waiting. And hey, that's fine, right? Because that just leaves more opportunity for others that are wanting to play. And it's, again, there's no right or wrong. Whatever you feel is right or whatever you feel is wrong, you're entitled to. So, and I think more people need to think that way. Ashley D says, agreed. I think that the music scene and the art scene in Springfield is really competitive and divided, like you said. I wish more artists in the area would support each other. I do too. I enjoy like art walk and stuff. Obviously, we haven't had that because of all this. But besides art walk, where else is there to get exposure to local artists and stuff? Again, it's whenever I see stuff on Facebook, somebody sharing somebody else's artwork and stuff. But it's, I don't know. I mean, there's so much. I feel like there's still so much more that can be done, and people just expect things anymore. That the build it and they will come philosophy, and it's not always the case, and especially not in trying to promote anything that you're doing. Kim Gromery says younger people don't socialize in person either. Smartphones are killing local music. Maybe that could be, but at the same time, I'm not convinced of that yet. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen and that it won't eventually, but I think still people long for that human connection. It's cool, like what you're doing to me right now, watching me and we're connecting. Listen, this whole show, the Audio Rose podcast, started because it's something, first of all, I've wanted to do for a long time. But the reason I actually said, okay, here, today's the day, we're starting this now, was I just went live on my own personal Facebook page one time. And it was just because I was freaking bored out of my mind with all this COVID stuff and whatnot. This is like in late March, early April. And I was like, man, I just missed that human connection and seeing my friends and my family and stuff. And I just want to reach out. And so that's why I did this show. And my point is, it definitely scratches an itch, but there's still an itch to be scratched with needing to, to sit down and have dinner with somebody, or watch a band together, or go see a movie together, that kind of stuff. So I do think that, yes, even though smartphones and stuff play a big part of society and socialization and stuff, I still think that people as humans still need that human connection with one another. So I don't think that we're there yet. I do see that it could happen, but that's why I'm saying, like, we gotta act and do our part. We can't just expect people to just, they're gonna know about us, and like my band Death May Die, I don't expect people to know about us, and we've been around for 12 years. I've been with them for 10. I don't expect people to know any of that. That's why you hear me say it, because it's me trying to tell. Maybe if I reach one person, okay, well, at least one person now knows that didn't know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody's putting the work in on the business side. They just get up and play. Springfield has always had good bands, lots of great musicians around here. Joel, I strongly agree. And there's people too that have been musicians for a long time and kind of I don't want to say dropped off, but maybe don't have projects or anything right now, and they're kind of being forgotten about. That's why I'm challenging Deb. That's why, Joel, I know you do a lot of work with Scott and whatnot. Scott Snow from Naked Zoo, and you and the Public Assassin Boys, like, where's your band? Why do you choose not to play anymore? Is it all this? Is it you don't want to mess with the marketing and all the bullshit? You just want to jam and play? And if that's the case, totally cool. Not even just to you. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying in general, anybody. If that's part of the thing, then I actually respect that. That you're like, nah, I ain't about the business part. I just want to jam. I just want to have fun. Like, cool. Do your thing. But to the people that want their bands to be successful and to grow, you've got to do more than just show up and play. Cindy Lucas says, venue Facebook pages and band pages are my go-to options for finding events. There you go. Yep, exactly. And that's kind of the same thing that I said as well. Brian says, I have local bands posters hanging on the wall, but I'm a fan, not a musician. Nothing wrong with being a fan only. In fact, you guys are some of my absolute favorite people, because your appreciation for music is a lot stronger in some ways than even musicians have. So I'm a huge fan of that, and I very much so thank you. And he says, okay, Jared, I hear you. Landscape, not portrait. Hey, I'm saying, here's the deal. I didn't give two hoots one way or another right before I started doing the show, and I would hear other people complain about the same thing, and I'm like, what difference does it make? And then when I started doing the show, of course, look at what you're looking at right now. It's sideways. It's not long ways. So if you're going to be on my show and that kind of thing, and you want me to show a video of your band, it helps to have it sideways. So again, I digress. Let's see here. Jody Marshall. Don't know or have never heard of you, but I agree with what you're saying, man. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate the support, and I appreciate you tuning in and checking us out. Go over to the Audio Roast Podcast Facebook page and like it and follow it. We do this every Sunday at 5. It's always a little something different, but yeah, sometimes, I said, I think it was to Josh Poole. This is our second episode of Talkin Shop, and I kind of like this. So I'll just be totally transparent about this. There's times where I do shows and I feel the shows go really well, and there's times where I do the show and I feel like it was good, but man, I feel like I had more to offer. I feel like there was still something more to give. And, I took this week and kind of reflected on that. And I think a lot of it is this. It's the connecting with you guys. Like sometimes I'm really busy, being the host and doing the games and this and that. And it's fantastic. And I love what it's doing with the community. People are talking, people are connecting and that. And that's the whole point of the whole show, right? But this is the reason that I started the show. And so I think I'm going to try like every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, to do this, to do a Talkin' Shop episode where it's just me and you. No guests, no nothing. Whatever is on your mind. If you want to talk about the price of bananas, we'll talk about bananas. I don't care. It's cool. Richard Johnson says, I want to see you perform as King Diamond again. Stay tuned. Holler at Scott Henry. Just saying. In fact, I don't know if I have it. Let me see here. I'll give you a sneak preview here of something. Give me 1 second to pull this up. Who else drinking out there? Anybody else drinking coffee? Or what are you drinking? Put it in the comments. It's a Sunday. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? So maybe you're having a little adult beverage. Enable. Come on. Working on getting this put up here. This is not easy. In a day now. Wow, this is slow. Okay. Come on. Sure. All right. And then I gotta come up here and click this. And click that. And somewhere. There it is. Whew. Man, I tell you. Okay, so I will flip to this. And then I'll flip to this. There is what's to be expected. That's what's coming up. Speaking of King Diamond, we're going to be doing a King Diamond episode. I was not going to say anything because it's so far away, but you heard it here first. The Audio Rose Podcast, special guest Richard Brandner and Scott Henry. Now, why would I have put those two together? If you know, you know. September 6th, right here on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, but that's that. Okay, so let me close out of that, if I can. Come on, computer, don't fail me now. There we go. Okay, so now I can see all your comments again. Kanita says there's many different ways to advertise and promote. You're exactly right, Kanita. And I know you do a lot of promotion with the gypsies and stuff. So besides Facebook and besides YouTube, how else can people promote? What are some ideas that you have? Or what are some things that you do? Jill says, yeah, for sure, man. I'm putting out underground music and jamming with lots of different people. But if you're trying to make it, you're right. You have to work hard. Exactly right. And I know if anybody knows that, Joel, you do, as much as you were hanging around with Public Assassin and Naked Zoo guys and all that, like, you know successful bands and you know the work that goes into it. So, yeah. Wine, Mountain Dew, coffee, Beam and Black Cherry Zevia? I don't even know what that is. Oh, yeah, I do. Never mind. It's that stuff. Terry's, I'm drinking coffee today, not Crown yet. Good man. You're probably still recovering from that night. Good grief. Gatorade Zero. Yes. Brian says, Lavazza coffee? I've never heard of that. What is that? Interesting. Deb's got her coffee, and she bought myself a French press. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I have one, and I've yet to use it. I'm kind of scared. I don't like really bitter coffee. I'm not opposed to strong coffee, but the bitter kills me. As I drink coffee, I have sugar that sits right here so I can add to it because I just can't do it. Okay. Jody Marshall says, I have a question. How do I get my video to more people on social media? And then gives us a link. Well, I'm not sure what your video is, but of course with Facebook, and it didn't used to be this way, and I know and I agree that it's totally shitty and whatever. Why does a multi-billion-dollar company need to make more money? But you pay for it, you promote it, you have to boost it, and it's a absolute shot in the dark. And I think the whole concept is bullshit. It used to be that when you shared something, it just went out to the masses, and just the algorithms inside of Facebook put it in front of the right eyes to a certain extent. And now you have to pay for that. And they call it boosting. So you have to boost your post. You have to make a post and boost it. The other thing is some advice that I don't even take myself necessarily on the show. Look at some of my my titles of my episodes and stuff. They're not like clickbaity, but they give a quick description of here's what it is, here's what it's about, here's when it is. In and out, done deal. I think including some of that in your video, I unfortunately with what I'm, on the live stream right now, I can't click on the link and see what it is. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's music maybe of some sort, maybe that you've done. But yeah, feel free. I mean, so post it to yourself, but the big thing is networking, right? Knowing people that will help you get your name out there. I've said it already on the show. Deb Klein, fantastic at sharing your stuff. It's about networking and finding the people that are like that. Cindy Lucas, another one. There's and I shouldn't have even started because I know there's several of you guys right here in the comments that do this, and even other musicians that do it for other musicians. So it's a matter of just getting your name out there to anybody and everybody. And another good resource is getting in on Facebook groups, musicians groups, and musical instruments for sale kind of groups and that kind of stuff. Like, just make your name known. And that's the thing too. It goes right in line with what I've been doing on the show, is trying to get you to invest in the people that bring the music and the art to you. And you'll see I've got other episodes that are coming up in the future that aren't even about the musicians in the local music scene. Again, I'll go ahead and spill the beans on this. There's going to be a photographer episode where we focus on people that do live photography for local bands. And we'll be giving them their props and talking to them about what are their great stories, what are their challenges, all kinds of stuff. But I forgot where I was going with that. But anyway, it's honestly, it's just about networking. You got to make a name for yourself. You've got to, as much as I'm trying to get people to connect with different circles and whatnot, it's about getting your name to have some notoriety, if you will. I know that sounds kind of like egotistical, if you will, or whatever, but it just is what it is. If I say the name Scott Henry, or if I say the name Josh Poole, people are going to be like, great bass player, really cool. If I say the name, I don't know, Jacob Schwizzlestick, you ain't going to know who that is. But he plays a mean bass. Nobody knows about it. Why? How many shows does he come out and see? How many musicians does he support? How many Facebook pages and groups does he like? That kind of thing. So that's what I mean. It's not like I got to be hoity-toity and that kind of thing. It's just networking, man. You got to get your name out there. You got to make people invest in you, not just your product. In fact, more so you than your product, in my opinion. So yeah. John says it's a Beam and Cranberry Day. I can appreciate that. Man, you guys are killing it in the comment section. I freaking love this. Kanita says it's a secret if I told you. Fair enough. Fair enough. And that's the thing too. If you're able to figure out an advantage, that's cool. But do keep in mind, um, man, I'm a big stickler for this. I'm all for an occasional advantage, that kind of thing. I think that's, hey, it's fair game. But man, we've got to do our part to help other people too, right? Again, especially the up and comers. So I'll challenge you to this, Kanita. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody that you play with, that I play with, or whatever. But the next time you see a new band or people that maybe it has members that just moved to Springfield or something, tell them, and don't tell anybody that you told them. Just, challenge yourself that way. Kenny says, Richard Brantner, I've actually thought about that acoustically, referring to a Beatles tribute, I assume. Very good. Brian says he's drinking Italian coffee. I myself have been on a Colombian coffee kick. So, yeah, I like it because it's bright. It's not really bitter. It says on the package it's also fruity. Just saying. So, yeah. Denise, my sister, says, I miss my brother. I need to come see you. I believe this has been the longest I've gone. I agree. FaceTime and Messenger videos are not cutting it, especially with your nephews and niece acting like a bunch of baboons in the background. I'm saying I need some four non-blongs at the top of our lungs in traffic, blasting it as strangers, not giving two craps about what anyone thinks about us. I agree. I think there just needs to be more of that in the world anyway, Denise. People are so, I don't know. I should probably just leave that one alone. But when's the last time you looked over at somebody and they were just jamming out in the car next to you? And if they are, when's the last time you were like, that kind of thing, or give them one of these, or just go with them? Like, where's the spontaneity and the fun anymore? Next. I'll stop there. So Kanita says boost. Let's see here. Josh says, check your messages. I check my messages, and I'm immediately disgusted to see pretzel Pop-Tarts. Next. So, okay, let's go there, Josh. Some of you may or may not know anything about what this Pop-Tart stuff is about, right? But maybe you've seen it here and there. Myself and Shane Jennings and Josh Poole and Tom Hembry, and I mean, there's a handful. Deb Shelton. There's a handful of us that have kind of been roped in this Pop-Tart situation. I have an idea for this too, by the way. But I need more patrons on my Patreon channel to support this. I would love to do an episode. Okay, let me back up. I don't know how, but somehow we got onto literally a over 6 hour long back and forth Facebook thread about Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts, of all the things in the world that we could have been talking about, it was Pop-Tarts. And so somebody else jumped in that hadn't been a part of the conversation. Somebody jumped in on the thread and said, I can't believe you guys have, it was like 400 something comments or something like that. I can't believe you guys have gone this long talking about Pop-Tarts. My response was, all the other crap that you see on Facebook, I'm happy to talk about Pop-Tarts for an entire day. So it's now become a thing, right? So it's anything Pop-Tart, those people that are in that conversation are being tagged and stuff, and I think it's fantastic. Yet another way to unite. It doesn't have to be music that we unite musicians with. It could be anything. But so that's that. My idea is to do either an episode or maybe what I'm really leaning toward is like a bonus episode. And maybe we'll do it live. Maybe it'll be a video that we pre-record or something and put on my Patreon channel or something. But needless to say, I would love to do an episode where we get some musicians in here and rank the Pop-Tart flavors. Sounds crazy, but again, it's another something to do to unite musicians and stuff. And it's just, it's funny. Who gives a shit about Pop-Tarts and what one's the best, right? But we'll make it entertaining, and we'll make you agree or disagree with whatever we decide. So yeah, there's that. I see somebody's put an angry face, so they must not like that idea. Okay, next. Brian says, our exchange student got us started in this coffee. That's awesome. You'll have to bring some when you come. Just saying. Boost says unavailable. Okay, well, there's probably a reason for that. And will probably tell you why that is. So do me a favor, put that link go to whenever the show's over, go to the Audio Roast podcast and just put it right on my page. Put a link right on it, and I'll click on it and see what I can do to help you out. Al says, howdy, sorry I'm late. Thanks for joining, Al. I appreciate it. Another one that's always here supporting, and I very much so appreciate that, Al. So thank you. Grab your whatever you're drinking, coffee or soda, water, beer, anything. Jim Beam seems to be a popular one tonight. Where were we at? Okay. Tape trading. Yes. That was another thing. So, and again, with these, when I say pass these out, I don't mean just, pass them out to when you're loading your equipment out and you see somebody walking down the street that obviously didn't even go to the concert and didn't give a shit about live music anyway. I'm not saying that. I'm saying also the other musicians, the 6 musicians that are there watching you and have already played their show and are, being nice and staying and watching you. They're not doing it just to be nice. They're doing it to support you. So do something for them. Let them, even if you say, here's this, go listen to this. And then when you're done listening to it, give it to one of your fans. Give it to somebody that's not here tonight. Like networking. You gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the footwork. Tape trading is something that is kind of a lost thing, and that's because physical copies of things aren't there so much. But it's also about having an online presence too, whether it's on oh my God, SoundCloud, Reverb Nation, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. Now those first two, SoundCloud and Reverb Nation, in my opinion, the people that use them, it's still going strong and it's still great. The people that don't and won't. I'm telling you, man, Facebook and YouTube is where it's at. That's where you're going to get the most traction for whatever project you're doing, in my opinion. That's been kind of what I've come to the conclusion of anyway. Okay, man, you guys, I'm loving all these comments. Thank you so much. I'm concerned where the music scene is going. Kanita, me too. And even pre-COVID, I'll say that. Even pre-COVID. Again, I think there's so many people that are just out for themselves or out to bury other people or other bands, if you will, and not help them. And I'm not saying you gotta help everybody. You don't have to save the world. This isn't, Scott Henry commented earlier, we are the world. We don't have to do all that. You don't have to do all that. A little bit goes a long ways, But when you do it, make it known. Not make it known like, hey, I'm helping them. Did you see me help them? I'm not talking about that. I'm saying don't just be like, oh, here's an XLR or here's a guitar cable if you need it. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like share and when somebody posts an event, share it to your page, or when you're taking a video, post it and tag the band and tag the people in the band and that kind of. That's what I mean. Like, just go that extra step. So yeah, Deb says you can pay Facebook and boost your post. You need to comment at least 5 words on a post for it to gain attention. Have everyone in your band share, not just on the show day. Yeah, and that's a really great point, Deb. There's many shows that I've done with national acts and stuff, and there is a requirement in the contract that each member has to share the event at least 3 times before the show. So if you've got 5 people, you as a band, as a unit, should have had 15 shares by the time that the show happens. And I agree. And you can't just hit the share button and no comments or anything. Nobody cares about that. Explain to people, hey, I haven't opened for a national band before, and this is, I'm excited to do so. And we have to share this 3 times. I mean, tell them. It doesn't matter. If you don't have to be all like businessy and like, oh, I can't let them know what's in the contract. Fuck yes, you can. It doesn't matter. So you got to do your part. Yeah. I mean, I say that like that because I can keep going, but I don't want to. I got some really good questions here, and I don't want to get too into the weeds on some of this. Professional pictures look awesome. Nathan Bryce has some new pictures on his pages, and they look great. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Go the extra distance. My band has done photo shoots in the past before. You talk about, so Joel was talking about tape trading and how that's kind of a dying thing. My God, promo pictures, and I'm not talking like. I don't care if you're standing in front of a brick building or on train tracks. I don't give a shit. When's the last time you paid a photographer to come and take pictures? And I'm not talking about when you're playing live. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about actual, like, if some big band came to Springfield and was like, hey, we're looking for local acts to open for us, and we need a promo pack or a press pack. How many bands actually have that ready? I guarantee you very few. I guarantee you very few. In fact, I'll say probably next to nobody. Do you think Springfield's cliquey? Yes. Yes. 1,000% yes. And I think that's exactly the code I'm trying to crack, to be honest with you, Kanina. I'm trying to get the, again, for me, this is how I've always broken it down. If Springfield is this piece of paper, I'll turn it this way. And you've got your north side, your commercial street, you've got your indies and your singer-songwriter and that kind of stuff. Now, again, I've said this earlier too, all this can kind of intermingle, but it's real easy to point and say, here's your singer-songwriters, here's your cover bands, here's your original bands, your rock bands, your metal bands, your downtown bands, that kind of thing. And here's your midtown and south side cover bands and that kind of stuff. These things mingle a little bit, but nowhere near like what they should. I shouldn't be able to point to a piece of paper and divide it that easily, but I can, and I do. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, here's another thing that you can do to what I'm talking about and stepping up and helping somebody. Play a show with somebody that doesn't fit with your band. Not in the like, oh, they don't fit with me, well, I'm going to stick it up their ass and, they're going to look like idiots. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm saying get somebody, trying to think of a good example here. Okay, here's an example. I'll throw this out here. It may or may not ever happen. If it does, cool. If not, no big deal. I'm in a metal cover band that we haven't played a single show yet. We've only been practicing. We haven't even announced anything. We haven't announced a name. We haven't announced a set list, who's in the band. Nothing. Once we're ready to do that, I would hope that somebody like the Dirty Saints or, I don't know, hell, Machine Gun Symphony, or it doesn't matter. Love Bomb, insert name here, says, hey, I dig what you're doing. It may not be the style that we, jive with, but there's a lot of people in our audience that like a lot of different music. Come play with us. Do that for a band. That's what I'm talking about when I say step outside your comfort zone, do a little extra work, give a little extra that you wouldn't normally give. Get out of your giving comfort zone. Do something more. Do something different. That's what I'm talking about. So, Kanita, if you're booking a show with Fleetwood Mac tribute band, the Gypsies that you're in, book somebody that you wouldn't normally think Fleetwood Mac would play with or that type of music would go with. Book with Papa Green Shoes. Book with, it doesn't matter, just somebody different. I think that's the thing too. The reason why we are so divided is because we're not doing our part to intermingle this. We just expect it to happen. So you got to do your part, and you got to step outside of your comfort zone. I can remember when my band Sunset Strip first started. We played with like Crowning Alice, and we played. I mean, there's so many bands that were like up and coming, but in different genres. But it was like, hell yeah, like come play with us. Again, we're all in this together, man. Somebody was, Jody was asking earlier, how do I get that? There's a fantastic way to get exposure. If you're a musician, I don't know, I'm sorry. Put yourself out there in front of everybody, not just, don't think, oh, I'm a rapper and I got to put my name out in front of rappers. I promise you, I know a lot of metalheads and a lot of rockers that like rap. I mean, I've shown it right here on the show, right here on the Audio Roast podcast. I've had people, we did, come on, what was the, well, first of all, we've done hip hop just a few weeks ago. We had Erin Powell formerly of Wicked Shimmy, who was a rock and metal cover band. And she was talking about, Destiny's Child and J-Lo, for crying out loud. We had Sherry Quigley on from Wheelhouse, who does, rock and grunge and, that kind of thing. And we're talking about Tony Braxton and Mary J. Blige. There's so many more people that are musicians that like music more than just what they play. No different from, when you go to watch, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example, but there's people that play in a band, and I'm talking national acts, that maybe their talents are better than the band, meaning their talent is up here, but the band only requires this. There's so many of that, and there's so many of that that's like, in musical taste. Like, oh, I'm in a rock band, but I really love blues and I really love jazz. That's cool. That's fine to like both. So my point is, don't think for people in trying to narrow your own audience. Just throw it out to whoever, and it'll catch, hopefully, to somebody. And I'm telling you, if you know me, if you don't, let me rephrase that. If you don't know me, I did hair for 16 years. I was a hairstylist as well as played in bands, etc., etc. My business was built on people that I can literally count. 85% of my business came from less than 5 people that just walked in and I did their hair, and they really loved it, and they went and told their friends, their family members, their coworkers, the people they went to church with. Got stopped at the grocery store, and that's what builds my business. Like, was having 5 people right here, 5 people like this, like Deb Klein, that say, "Wow, no, you got Deb Shelton," that say, "Man, you got to come and see this band." Like, I don't know if you have seen music in a while, but I'm telling you, this is worth your time. This is worth your money. That's where those are the people, and they're so hard. It's not even they're so hard to find, but when they do, man, they're the biggest fans and the biggest supporters of you. Just like right here, some of the people that you see every week, you guys are the same way. The ones that come on every show and support the Audio Roast podcast, it's the same thing. So it's just a matter of finding those people that'll really carry your flag and help spread your name and your brand out there. So yes, Kanita, I do think that Springfield is cliquey, and I think that we all need to do our own part to be able to help break that up. I mean, we need to take that and just shuffle it and just throw it out there. Don't be afraid. Kanita, have somebody that's a singer-songwriter. Have a Joel Dillstrom type person or a Justin Larkin open your show, or you play with them or open for them or whatever. Mix it up. Don't play with the same old bands over and over, because not only is that not helping you grow, the people that come to see you get tired of singing the same combination too. That's a big thing. Kanita says, sounds fair. Al Hutchers says, you got to get out and drink a lot of different bars and schmooze a lot of owners. Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's not even just schmoozing. It's really just showing your worth and your value to them, and that kind of thing. It's not quite so much ass-kissy as you think it is. It's a business at the end of the day for them, and it's a business at the end of the day for you. So you got to figure out what it is that makes it a win-win situation for both parties. That's all it is. It's not even an ass kissing, but it is putting your face, your brand, to somebody else's attention. That's exactly what I've been saying. So you're right, Al. A high tide raises all ships, Cody. Yes, I agree. You and I have talked so much about this, and we've talked and have over the years had other bands play with us that honestly don't even belong on the same show because it's a different genre or different playing levels or what have you. We do it because we know that that's what's right. And exactly like what you said, a high tide raises all ships. So, yeah. I jam in a car and don't care, says Deb. If they are at a traffic light and jamming, I join in. I do too. I don't always. There's times where I'm like, oh, God, don't look at me. I'm a hot mess right now. But no, it's fun, man. It's fun. Just do it. It's fun. I'm still waiting to see a jogger so I can blast Eye of the Tiger. I love it. Al, whenever that happens, if you're able to, take a video of that, and I'll show it on the show because I think it's fantastic. Richard says, frosted cherry or die. Oh, for the Pop-Tarts. Yeah, frosted cherry is great. I saw a White Claw meme last night. Okay. You'll have to share it. Kanita's all about the strudels. I like the strudels too. They are extra work because you have to like melt the frosting and put it on there and stuff. Yeah. Ryan Everly. I'm not sure who that is. Tammy likes a pretzel one, says Chris. Yeah, well, there's going to be more for her because I ain't buying them. Brian says Shane needs Dr. Pepper, not coffee. The Pop-Tart episode. Yeah. Well, he'll have. I tell you what, if we can get people to help pitch in for some Pop-Tarts, I'll grab some Dr. Pepper, even if I have to go to the black market for it. I'll get some Dr. Pepper for him. Crap! Now I lost my spot. I'm gonna jump through these because I've got some really great questions here, but I am absolutely loving that you guys are giving me all these comments. You guys are bringing up some really, really fantastic points too. if you do a Pop-Tart show, I'm going to crash it with cherry Pop-Tarts and Apple Crown, a big bottle this time. Well, there you go. There you go, Terry. Who has drank Zach Wild coffee, and if so, was it any good? Good question. Richard Johnson asks, Richard Brantner, have you had Zach Wild's coffee? I know you're a big Zach Wild fan. So, Josh Poole says, network. All you can do is buy followers. Also, you can buy followers that create bigger online presence. The social media algorithms recognize this and give you a wider reach to unsolicited profiles. There you go. There you go. That's exactly right. Chris says, everyone should be doing shameless self-promotion. Absolutely. Here's the thing, too. It's no different from playing, right? There's a balance. There's a balance. You don't want to like post something every day and be like, oh man, go like my show. I'm telling you, man, I've been in this scene for over a dozen years now, and I've seen new bands come up. I won't even name names because some of the people are still very current in the music scene, and thankfully now we're playing with people that are more seasoned. But I've seen people that just whore the shit out of the shares and the posts that they do, whether it be on their own page, but more specifically in groups, to where it's a total turnoff. Nobody, to remind somebody or to show somebody is one thing, but to cram it down their throat, I promise you, is a total turnoff. So there's a balance there. No different from I don't want to see your band play at this bar every other Thursday. I don't. It's bullshit, and you're oversat. I don't even want to see your band play at any bar every other Thursday in Springfield. Period. Ever. There are bands that I've played with and that are still playing right now that absolutely overplay the shit out of the same market. Now, if you're in a band and you're playing every weekend, but it's in a different city or a different state, you're doing it right. You are doing it right. But if you're playing in Springfield, if you're on the north side this weekend and down on the south side this next weekend, and then downtown the following weekend, and then you've got the one after that off, and then you're back on the south, like, it's too much. You're cramming it down people's throat, and you're not giving people a chance to want it or to miss it. So online promotion is no different from playing out in that aspect, in my opinion. A little bit goes a long ways, but you have to do a little more than just a little bit, if that makes sense. I know maybe that kind of cluttered it up, but don't overdo it. Don't post shit every day saying, oh, like my page or like my band or share this or da-da-da-da-da. Like, do it with purpose. Do it with meaning. And it's not even just about, if this is your event, don't just share your event. Share, hey, I'm taking my kids out for a picnic today or something. Make them invest in you. Okay, well now, hey, I've seen pictures of this guy online, and he's got cute kids, or I like that he's always outside, or I like that he's da-da-da-da-da. They're investing in you. That's what I'm talking about. Brian says, I have a few of these CDs converted to MP3 and mixed with the rest of my music. That's awesome. That's awesome. David Gates says, yep. Joel says, yeah, we need a big metal fest after this virus is over. Joel, I agree, and Death May Die is in. So if you're putting it together, keep in mind your friends and Death May Die. Kim says, do you as a musician take time during your break to reach out and speak to someone that you haven't seen at your show before? Yes and no. I'll be honest, I do try to do that. But there's also, it's a challenge because, so when you're on stage for, 45 minutes in your first set or second set or whatever, and you've got time to, during your break, you've got to go to the bathroom, you've got to get your other drink. In the way of all this, you got somebody stopping you and talking that you probably stop and talk to at every show, that kind of thing. So it does make it hard. But again, it's about going that extra distance. It's about, like, when you're playing your last song or whatever, try and eyeball who's that? I don't know that. And then when you're done playing, make a beeline for right there where you're going, where you see that person that you're like, I don't even know who they are. That's a great point, Kim. Challenge yourself to go out and do the whole okay, maybe not handshake during all this. I won't say that, but pre-COVID, that's what I'm talking about. You've got to go out and what's the saying? Shake hands and kiss babies and that kind of stuff. Like, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to again, it's extending an olive branch to have them invest in you. So yeah. Good picks. Yep. How many bands have press packs? Yeah, exactly. I would love to know that too, Deb. I'm guessing, and I'm dead serious with this. I bet you less than a dozen bands in all of Springfield have a press pack. Less than a dozen. And I promise you we're over 200 bands. That's pitiful as fuck, is what it is. Just to be blunt. It's absolutely pitiful. Who was the chick with the orange hair taking pictures downtown yesterday? My son thought they were doing a music video. I'm not sure, and I'm trying to think of who that could have been because I'm not sure that I saw anything on Facebook about that. Deb Klein agrees. Springfield does have a clique. Yep. Again, and I'll reiterate this till I'm blue in the face. That's what I'm trying to break. I'm trying my part to try and break some of that because to have some cliques and stuff, it's natural, you know, it's human nature, but it shouldn't be this divided. It shouldn't be. David Gates says, what do you think about an original act opening for a cover band that brings a draw to help grow original acts? I 1,000,000,000% agree. Dave, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's even exactly what I said to Kanita. Just as an I'm not trying to point out you, Kanita. You were just the one that commented, so I went with it. But if you notice, Kanita is in she's in several, but the band I was talking about was the Gypsies, which is a Fleetwood Mac cover band. I suggested her the two names that I threw out, Justin Larkin and Joe Dillstrom, are singer-songwriters, original music. That's what I'm talking about exactly. You hit the nail on the head, Dave. And again, that's more of, the people that are successful taking just 2 seconds to reach out and help somebody else out, even if you do it for one show. Even if you do it and you're like, I don't feel like that really did anything for us, or I don't feel like they got as much out of it as what we were hoping they would. Next. At least you tried. Nobody's trying. That's the problem. Drank, trying to drive. Well, be careful out there, Richard. Brian says, example, get your Rock Life Back show. Yes, exactly. And Russ and I both have been, and that was totally Russ and Renee's deal. I'm not trying to piggyback off that, but he and I both have always had the same philosophy of do all that you can to try and get Springfield more united with our music scene. Kanita says, I love Papa. Oh, Papa Green Shoes. Yeah, there you go. Another one. Now, yes, they're a cover band. So to Dave's point, that was another band that I threw out. And yes, they're a cover band, but they're a blues cover band and a kind of a classic rock kind of thing. So it's not necessarily something that you would put with a Fleetwood Mac per se. Would it go well? Hell yeah. Oh yeah, it would. So it's about thinking outside of the box, exactly like what you said, Dave. Richard Brantner says, remember that time in Eye of the Witch played with a Tool cover band? Yes, I do, in Fayetteville, Arkansas. That was fantastic. And I like King Diamond and Tool. You'll never see, unless you're at a big festival in Europe or something, unless you're at Wacken or something like that, Wacken, you're not going to see that. But it happened right here in I almost said in Missouri, but in Arkansas, Missouri, whatever, in this area. Because we made it happen. Okay, so Jody, you are a musician. Gotcha. Very cool. I'm excited to learn more about you, Jody. I appreciate you joining us here. Kanita says, Aaron Gabrielle Powell kills the blues. She can do it all. Yes, she can. Absolutely. I didn't even know that she did. And then the time that I ran sound for her and, for crying out loud. I just totally went blank. Wow. Norman Jackson. Jeez. Played at Fusion here in Springfield. I actually thought that you were going to be the one singing with him. And when she was there, I was like, oh, this is different. I didn't know that this was even a thing. And she nailed it. She did very, very good. So, yeah. Denise says, here's a good example. You were in Death May Die, but you went to see Tanny Tucker in February. Absolutely. I'm a fan of lots of music. And there's been many times people on the show have said that, that they're a fan of music. They're a fan of good music. And what somebody considers good and bad is totally subjective, and I get that. But I think a lot of it has to do with just having an open mind and trying not to be so much of an elitist about things. Well, my music's more complicated. Mine's more diverse. Next, where is the variety in your life? Josh says, agreed. Springfield needs to get away from the 4-hour one-band gigs. It will expose one band's fan base to other groups. Honestly, most musicians in this town aren't in it for the money. I agree. And, to be honest, from my experience, the bands that are getting the money, it's totally residual. It's not their goal. And I think that's exactly what you're saying. It's just a byproduct of what's happening. Their goal is just to have a lot of people support them and come to see their shows, and so I don't want that to get too confused with what I call build it and they will come philosophy, meaning I'm just going to do my part and people better show up and realize how great I am. That ain't going to work. The proper build it and they will come is doing it for, hey, I want to get my stuff out there to as many people as I can. I'll do all and anything and everything I can to do so. If I get nothing out of it, if I get nothing back, if people show up to my shows only whenever I play for free, cool. But if I play somewhere and there's a $10 cover and I'm making $1,000, that's a bonus. That's not the goal. So, yeah. Kanita says, I support Jared Isaacs. Well, I so appreciate you, Kanita. I've enjoyed so much working with you over the last couple of years now, and I support you as well. So Al says, preach it, Brother Jared. There you go. You heard it here first. Chris says, flyers are necessary. I agree. Both what I call digital and physical. You've got to put them up. You've got to something. Even if you talk to the bar, here's the thing too. I'll show you an example of this right now. Some of the bands that play may not even realize this. You can go to a bar, you can go to a bartender or a bar owner or manager, whatever, fill in the blank, and you can see on the bar where it says Coors Light, $5, $6 Applejack shots or Fireball or what the hell ever. Those are produced by the liquor suppliers to the bar. They're given to the bar for free because in the bottom it'll always say Coors Light or Fireball or whatever. You can also have them do your band's poster for free. It's a matter of building that relationship and that connection with the bar, saying, hey, I would like to see before our show, for 3 weeks before we play, I see that Bud Light or Miller Lite is a big sponsor here. You've got a lot of Miller Lite signage and stuff. Can you talk to them the next time they come and restock your freezer or restock your cooler or whatever? Can you have them put this flyer? And then right there, whether it's a file, whether it's a whatever, if you hand them a flash drive or whatever, and you just have a small shitty one that you don't care about, give it to them and say, here's my file. Whenever you can, have your beer guys put this up and make a poster for us. I would appreciate it. And then take that poster and give it to somebody after the show or something like that. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, going the extra mile. Like, people just put it on Facebook and expect, oh, I did my part. They'll come. They see it. There's so much more. Because look at now, you're talking about building a relationship with a bar owner or a manager or a bartender, and they see that you're invested in the overall project, the overall big picture. You want to be a success for your show. You're wanting their bar to be a success. You've got to look at the big picture and things from all sides. So, yeah, that's that. Oh, sorry, White Claw Pop-Tart meme. There you go. I got $5 towards Pop-Tart episode right now. There you go, Kim. I appreciate it. What happened? I don't know what happened. What happened where? When? Why? Where? How? Who? But they're chocolate Pop-Tarts. Those are the worst. I have not, but I imagine it shreds, and it's very tasty. About the Zach Wild coffee, I think that was Brian that had asked, or no, sorry, that was Richard Johnson. ILLC pitched some money too for the Pop-Tart money episode. Very cool. Patreon.com. I tell you what, put it on Patreon or on what else did I say? PayPal and Cash App. I'll throw those up again before the end of the episode so you can see those. Original bands usually don't have 4-hour sets. That's a ton of material. Yes, it is. That's also, in some respects, I think also kind of what Josh is saying, that's also by nature overexposure in its own. Even if you're in a band that plays a 4-hour set and you play once every 3 weeks or something, that's kind of overdoing it, because that's when you break down the hours, that's 12 hours of insert band name here music over a 3-week period versus an original band that plays once every 2 or 3 months for 45 minutes. That's a drastic percentage difference in saturation. So, yeah, I agree. Jared, you have had Valhalla Java Deathwish coffee. Oh, have I had? I'm not sure about Valhalla, but I do have Deathwish over there at my little coffee station. I've got both the K-Cups and the actual bean, the coffee bean stuff. I brought it to the rehearsal that I photographed. It was great. Oh, yes, I have. And Zakynthos Wilds coffee. Okay. Yes, I've had black black. I've had Death Wish coffee. It comes in a black bag, and I really like it. It's good stuff. There you go. There you go. Zach Wild. Okay, I was like, I don't know what that word is. Used to have house bands. Okay. Crotch bump. You have to reach out to the cover bands. Yes, exactly. And I'm telling you, cover bands are the easiest people to reach out to. They're all over the place. They are sometimes some of the best about promoting their stuff. Whereas original bands kind of fall more so into that build it and they will come. Yeah, I've worked my ass off and practice, and we've paid for this studio time. We've got our CDs and stuff. We've got merch. We've got all this. We've done our part. Build it and they will come. We've got a show on the 13th of next month. Build it and they will come. And you hear crickets. Why? Because what actual exposure have you given yourself to other people? None. You're relying on people to just show up at your show and then give them exposure to your band. That's not the way it works. That's exactly what Deb was saying earlier. Who are you? Why would I even come to your show? Where's my free sample? Where's my, that kind of thing. Hello, that's the reason they do, speaking of free samples, that's the reason they do free samples at, your grocery store and stuff of different foods, is to get you to try things that you wouldn't normally try. And you have no idea what they even are. They're not even on your radar. You can't expect just well, here's an example. I enjoy drinking Bud Light. I hadn't had the Bud Light Orange, and I didn't want to spend as a cheap ass, I didn't want to spend the whatever it was, $8, $9, for a 6-pack of it and risk taking one beer out of it, taking one sip and going, oh, this is horse shit. I didn't want to do it. So I waited until I went to, I think it was Price Cutter, where you can go and sometimes they'll have just a random bottle by itself. And I bought that. And that's exactly what happened. I drank it and I thought it was dog shit. And I was like, man, dodged a bullet on that. Glad I didn't spend my money, wasted my money on nearly $10 of beer that I would have taken one sip of and hated. It's the same philosophy with music. You got to give them the sip first. You got to give them that free bottle. Outland always has done posters. Lundberg's too. Just need your flyer. Exactly. And sometimes they're good about saying that to you. They're good about, they meaning the venue, saying, or the bar saying, hey, we've got this. Give me your flyer and I'll do this. Sometimes they're not. And I'm talking about both of them, where they've just taken my flyer right off of Facebook, and I'm like, I get there and I'm like, what does that say? It's really fuzzy, because they just took it right off of Facebook. They didn't even say, hey, can you email me a better quality of that image or whatever? Point being, it's cool that they do that. My point is, a lot of people don't even realize that they do or that they can. So if you learn that tonight, I'm glad that you've learned something. But that's what I'm talking about. You've got to, and to like what I think it was Al that was saying that earlier, you got to schmooze with your bartenders and your staff. It's not schmoozing. It's building a relationship. It's showing them that you're worth investing in. That's all it is. I have signed many posters. Yes, there you go. Or I have many signed posters. Golly, it's like I can't read. I wish, so if you've not been to the studio, I've got this screen, but it's across the room, and I'm trying to read from across the room, and it's not always easy. Blind taste test on PT. Okay. Blind taste test on PT. What is PT? Tuck says, hi from YouTube viewing. No Facebook currently. Yeah, that's fine. He can comment right there on YouTube. But tell him I said hello. I see all comments on Facebook and YouTube right here on the app that I use. So feel free to say hi, Tuck. Tammy says, what happened to the Facebook pages that came out after COVID? There's got to be a way to get aspiring musicians who aren't being heard of because they can't break into the local band scene without an actual band. Being selfish, there are those, like my husband, he's really great, but had a difficult time being heard until Subtle Jane. Tammy, that's a fair point, because I know that you and Chris both came out to a lot of shows and stuff for my band, and I know that you did for other bands as well. I think there's something to it too. I gotta kind of tread lightly on this one. Nothing on your end, but maybe not everybody knew that he could play, or how well, or at what level I should say, he could play at. Now, obviously, he's a great player and a great dude, and would make a fantastic bandmate. I'm treading lightly, because my solution to that is somebody else, I think it was Josh earlier, said that like 80% of the people coming to shows right now are other musicians. Okay, well, if that's all the people that's coming up to your shows, holler at them and say, hey, come up on stage and play this song with us. That's all you got to do. That's the same thing, right? Like, you're lifting them up, giving them that chance. For the 20% of people that aren't musicians or have never heard of Subtle Jane or who Chris is, they're able to say, wow, that guy's a really great player, or I like his stage presence, or not my cup of tea. Next. Okay, that's fine. But I think that's part of it too, is extending that olive branch in that way. Now, I have mixed feelings about that, because I used to be very not for having people come up on stage and play or sing with you and that kind of stuff. Just from the perspective of myself being such a, I don't want to say perfectionist, because I'm not perfect, but I do try to do my best. But all the hours and stuff that you put into band practice and stuff to learn your parts and to do your parts your way and the way of your band, you don't want to just like, okay, well, we've worked so hard on this, and how we're going to end this song, or how we're going to start this song, or we draw this part out, and then we have somebody come up on stage and they just know the record version and that's what they play, and we're like, what about all that practice? So my point is, I've changed my mind on that, though. That's part of a good band, is being able to spin on the fly like that and follow somebody else's lead. In fact, it makes it fun. It gives you a challenge that you're not normally, if you're doing the same thing all the time, where's the challenge? I guess is a short way to say that. How's that for promotion? Love it. Chris says, do they still have Battle of the Bands? I don't know. But before we talk about Battle of the Bands, we've got to get people less divided, right? Because I don't want to say that that's all it's going to do, but any Battle of the Bands in Springfield that I have ever been a part of is 100% a popularity contest. It's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just the way it is. And until we have kind of more of a level playing field, I don't see that's necessarily a good thing. That's my 2 cents. So I'm not necessarily for a Battle of the Bands. I'm more for a showcase of the bands. We'll put it that way. And Tuck says he loves you, Jared. Tuck, you better be wearing your red pleathers tonight, buddy. That's all I'm saying. I hate going somewhere, Chris says, that has like 6 bands the night that they spend more teardown and setup time than playing. I'd rather see 1 band night, maybe 2, but any more than that, you get bored. I'm going to challenge you, Chris, on that one just a little bit, and here's why. My band that you and I were in together, and your band that you're in now, used to play 3 sets in a night, which means 2 teardown and or 2 breaks. In those breaks, a band could have torn down and set up. So meaning that during your 3 sets, that could have been 3 bands. So I agree, 6 is too much. I've always thought 6 is too much. 4 is the max. 4, any more than 4, and you're ridiculous with whatever you're trying to do in a normal 9-to-1 scenario. If you're doing any more than 4 bands, I'm out. Like, I agree with Chris 100% on that. It's too much. Unless you've got a really smooth somehow set up, and most places here in Springfield just don't. They don't have the room. It's not that they don't have their hearts aren't in the right place or something. They just don't have the room or the ability to do so. Maybe they don't have enough microphones to mic 2 drum kits to where this one's playing, this one's setting up and whatever, and then this one's playing and this one's setting up. Like, they just don't have the means. So to a certain extent, I agree, but at the same time, I think that people are too antsy at the same time. If you're expecting people to stick around for 2 breaks, you should stick around for 2 bands to set up. It's the same thing to me. Mira says, "Hi, Jared. Your hair looks beautiful, sir." Thank you. Okay. Richard says, "Pop-Tarts." There you go. Okay, so that was, what was that? Black cherry? I don't know. If I scroll too much, I'm going to, PT, Pop-Tarts. Gotcha. Thank you. Appreciate the clarification. PT is Pop-Tarts. Got it. Got it. Not the red pleather. Okay, Kim says, "Thinking outside the box. Play other places, maybe like Sunset did with the music store." Yeah, absolutely. And I'm starting to see a lot of that, actually, Kim. But a lot of it is that market is being cornered right now by the singer-songwriters. Look at, again, I know I keep bringing these 2 up. Seriously, if you want to take notes from Justin Larkin and take notes from Joe Dillstrom. Look at the places they're playing. They're playing at places that you've probably not even been to or heard of. And I'm sure they would love to have bands there. Matt Baker, my friend, what's going on, man? It makes it hard to get any decent mixing done, too. Too many bands means I can't focus on getting a great production. Resurrection in small venues. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, resuscitation in small venues. Yeah, Matt, you're exactly right. It's, as a production guy, too, it is hard. It's a challenge, and it makes for a hell of a lot more stress to your sound guy to have that many bands. That I'm 4, 2 to 3, maybe 4. If you're doing 4 bands, start at 8. Go from 8 to 1. I don't think that's too much of an ask. Mark LeBrock, hello. Chris says Springfield should have a big festival outdoors like Springfield Palooza. Great idea, and I love it. My question is, where? Al Hutches. I think pages like Queen City Shout and the like. I got similar down here in Florida. I've helped out a lot during COVID, or have helped out a lot during COVID. Quality, not always the greatest, but I dig the shuffle setup a lot. There you go. Yeah. Yep. Bash in the Grass this year is almost entirely local. Yes, and I think that's fantastic. Matt, that's the one that's at Jack Mountain, correct? By the way, I'm well aware of the old Jack Mountain. Matt, if you've done a lot of work out there, talk to Marvin about the catwalk and ask him who it was built for. Just saying. Deb Klein says, "Love me some Jill Dillstrom." Same. Extremely talented guy. That's all right. Matt, sometimes I'm good at reading, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm good at reading typos, sometimes I'm not. Deb says, "If you ever got to see the C Street Band, they are some smooth dudes." Yes. I have never got to see them, to be honest, and to be totally frank about it. I have not, but I've seen and heard so many good things about them from seeing Facebook and clips of the like. It's, yeah, good stuff. Yes, Jack Mountain. Yep, good stuff. I love Jack Mountain. I love Marvin. I love what he's doing out there. I love the concept and the imagination. God, I hate that it's not a big deal. It's only 20, 25 miles away. But some people, they won't even go down the street to watch a local band, let alone go outside of town. But I'm telling you, if you want something different, Kim was talking about a change of pace and somewhere different, go check out Jack Mountain. It's amazing. They've got fishing and camping. You can go out there for a weekend. They've got so Jack Mountain. I'll go this way. Jack Mountain, like the stage. I'm backwards. I'm trying to do this on camera. This is not easy. Okay, here we go. So the stage is down here, and they've got people up on this mountain, Jack Mountain, and it's built like an amphitheater. And so, like, you can sit here and it's not like this steep. It's probably more like this. You could sit here. You're not rolling down the hill. You can sit here and watch the band that's playing down here at the stage, and you can go further up, and there's camping all around. They've got nice facilities. They've got like a little restaurant kind of thing there now. They have like in the past they've had 104.7 The Cave come out and cover the show. It's so good, and it's like honestly, it's the biggest hidden gem that there is in the surrounding music scene. That place should. There's no reason that place shouldn't have 1,000 people at some of these shows, and sometimes they just don't. Chris says the outport. I'm sorry, the airport, the airport out by Kearney or out by Springfield Underground. Yeah, absolutely. I think that either place would be really good ideas. In fact, I think so. Whenever I was like, I think 13 or no, it would have been my 14th birthday, I believe. I actually, my dad brought me and my sister up here to Springfield, and we watched a music festival, and I think it was up by the airport, and it was like Charlie Daniels was playing, Bill Engvall was there, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill. There was like this whole country 3-day kind of thing, and I think it was out by the airport, if I remember correctly. I didn't, I wasn't driving or anything then, so I didn't pay attention to exactly where it was. But I think it was up in that area, so I think it's very suitable to have a outdoor show or festival or concert like that up there. Lena says, I love the local musicians festival idea, and they can also showcase local food trucks. They could use Springfield Underground. This would promote local business and bands. 100%. 100%. So Lena, in the like last 3 years that I've been working with the Dirty Saints, they did a show, I think it was last year, in Marshfield, and it was exactly like this, where they had, like 20 different food trucks and stuff. It was I can't remember even what it was for, but it was something for the city of Marshfield, I believe. But yes, Springfield needs to do something similar to that. Bash in the Grass 2020. Travis Tuck, hey brother, hope all is well. Well, it is well, and I'm glad to see you in the comments. I don't know why you thought you couldn't comment, but I see you, brother. I see you. Now, go get into those damn pleather pants. Easy for me to say. You can get a beautiful mix, and it carries all the way up the mountain. Yes, absolutely. It sounds fantastic, and it is so nice, so well kept. And it's real. Man, I can't tell you enough. It is not hard to find. It is not that far away. To go to Branson is farther than it is to go to Jack Mountain. It's just so nice, and I wish so many people knew about it that don't know about it. Yeah, so it's actually in Diggins. If you're familiar with the area, as you're going east on Highway 60 towards Rogersville, or I'm sorry, past that towards Seymour, right before there is a town called Diggins. It's a town that's predominantly populated by Amish people, and just north of that is where Jack Mountain is. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful drive. I love driving down on eastbound Highway 60. It's such a nice drive. Deb says, "Don't encourage tuck pants are pants and are asbestos and won't burn." There you go. Yeah, easy for me to say again. Okay, so I'm gonna go back down to my notes. I didn't mention this earlier. I wanted to say this whenever I had the graphic up for find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Podbean, etc., etc. So I looked into this this week. This is for the audio only versions of the show. So like what you're hearing right now, and will be uploaded for you to listen to if you caught the first 10 minutes but you had to go or that kind of thing, or if you just don't get to watch the show and you want to listen. So I looked up the statistics, if you will, the analytics for how the channel is doing, and it's so cool to see people listening that aren't even from the Springfield area. So the majority of my listeners, and this is all just audio only, is all I'm talking about on this. The majority of my listeners, yes, come from the United States. But I've also got listeners in the Philippines and the United Arab Emirates, in Argentina, Germany, Mexico, Nigeria, New Zealand, and Saudi Arabia as of today. And then here's an interesting tidbit, and I don't know what I think about this, to be honest. I have, in the United States, you can also, I'm able to like zoom in on this and get more information. I have the majority of my audio-only listeners live in Iowa. Not Missouri, Iowa. And not by like one or two, like they have more than doubled, in fact, almost tripled the number of listeners in Iowa that listen to the Audio Roast podcast than do listen in Missouri. It's crazy. New York, Tennessee are also where people listen. I'm gonna challenge. I want to see. I won't give the answer here. Let's see if you can guess down in the comments on the audio only version. What is my most downloaded episode? Let me know in the comments. See if you can guess which episode is the most downloaded in the audio only. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I've got some questions that I've kind of come up with this week as I was getting ready to do this episode and whatnot. So sorry. I want to get to some of the questions that I've had prepared. So let's see here. Brian guesses episode number 3, which was Rock from 1970, if I remember right. I'm just going off the top of my head. Deb says AC/DC, Bon or Brian. Nope, that's not it. That was one of my actually. So far, those 2 guesses are my most viewed on Facebook. Both of them over 1,000 views, which I think is freaking awesome. But yeah, nope. Josh, nope, not AC/DC. You ready for this? Drum roll, please. No sound effects yet. Don't worry about it. Who cares? The Backstreet Boys. Classic album clash number 1, the Backstreet Boys. Backstreet's Back versus Millennium. That's my most downloaded audio-only episode. Who knew? It's also my absolute least viewed episode. It's crazy. I put no weight into that. I could care less. I enjoy that people are enjoying it and watching along, or listening along. I think it's great. I appreciate your support. I don't care that I get so many. I'm not like, oh, I gotta have this many views, or oh, I only got 100. I don't give a shit. I'm glad that you're supporting it, and I'm glad you are enjoying it. So yeah. Scott Henry says Maiden versus pre-show. That's quite possible. That would fall under our Tournament of Champions format. In our classic album clash, it is 1 artist with 2 albums. So to put an artist versus an artist, that would fall in our Tournament of Champion episode, and that's a high possibility. That's a really good one, actually. I'll write that down, sir. In fact, I was going to say I'll write it down, and then I was going to come back and write it down after the show, but I know my memory, so Maiden versus Priest. TOC, Tournament of Champions. There you go. It's written down. Okay, so you guys ready? I'm gonna go ahead and no, Tammy, it was not number 2, which was our summer kickoff party. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and present some questions for you guys, and I want to see if you guys can help me formulate answers to this and discuss this. You guys have asked me great questions, so now I'm putting this back on you. So, are we ready? My first question. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Now you're seeing everything. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so I present this to you. Are you personally more likely to go out and watch a local cover band over a local original band? I'm asking you. Chime in down below in the comments. Are you more likely to go out and watch a cover band or an original band? And why? Richard Breitner's upset that Backstreet Boys is the most downloaded. His show is better than my old one, Sports Punk. Huh. Deb says Maiden versus Priest. Tough show. Yes, I agree, which makes it a good show. But you looked so cute. Okay, Kim says cover band. Why is that, Kim? Travis says original. Why is that? I'm going to keep score is what I'm going to do. Somewhere around here. Okay, so I've got, oh, this is great. You guys are killing it in this comment section. I so appreciate this. It'd be awesome if this was this way every week. Love it. Love it, love it. Okay, so we've got one for a cover. We've got one for original from Tuck. Al says, I'm a whore. Cover. Okay. Brenda says cover. Geraldine, how's it going? She says, yes, a variety of what they play. Christy Pressler says, by the way, hi, Christy. Original because the support is needed, but pending the cover band, I'll go and have fun and sing along with the good to get out. Okay. It's good to get out. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to put you down for original. And just because you're to everybody, just because you're answering one way doesn't mean that you are only one way. I'm just asking right now, if I gave you $10 and said go watch a band, are you going to go watch a cover band or are you going to go watch an original band, and why? Chris says cover. Travis says like to hear the new over the radio rock I hear all the time. Totally fair. Probably cover. Comfort probably is why. Okay. Yep. And and I understand that. There's a lot of people that are like, I wanna be able to sing along and let loose and have fun that way too. They want to be a part of it, I guess. So I get that. Ashley says probably a cover band, but honestly, if I can't decide, I go by which has a cooler name. That's totally fair. So cover for Ashley. Chris says, I know what I'm getting. Richard says, honestly, these days, a cover band. Put you down for that. I am not real privy to all the original bands. I feel like that should change, though. Time is an issue as well, with work, etc. And word of mouth. Since I'm not in the scene as much, I don't know who's out there. Yep, I totally understand that. And I think it's one of those things, too. And this is where other people need to take more whatever with it. They need to do more. It's easy to talk about, man, you need to, I hear it all the time. I work with the Dirty Saints so much. Man, you got to hear the Dirty Saints. They're so good. And where are those people for the original bands? Where are the people that are like, man, if you've never heard of Death May Die, like you need to go check them out. Like, man, they're so good. Or just whatever. Like, it's so easy to talk about cover bands, but nobody really does the same for original bands, and I don't know why that is. Tiffany, original because I know the work that goes into that production. Love that. I'm not saying I love or I don't love original or cover as your answer. I love that as your reason why. David said, I'm sorry, I keep calling you David. Dave, I'm sorry. Dave Gates says original. Deb Klein says, I would go to an original band because it's their music and not someone else's. I know they're playing someone else's songs, take work and practice, but you know your own music, heart and soul. Yes, and it means something to you, like personally. I get that. So Deb is going with original. Kim says, who, by the way, voted for covers. To know the music I'm watching makes me feel more a part of it rather than listening to an original band where I'd be discovering something new. Spot on, exactly what I said. You want to be a part of the show, and I think that's fantastic. I will say, and I'll speak. Sorry, I'll scoot over. I'll speak from experience on this. There have been bands that I am massive fans of that are original music. I'll be transparent about this. There was a band 10 years ago that I was a huge fan of called Plastic Image, a genre that I didn't listen to, people that I didn't know. I don't even remember how I found them. And to this day, I'm still friends with the people that were in the band, and they haven't been a band in 10 years, something like that. So I guess it was like 15 years ago that I found them. I was a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of Sardis. These are all original bands. And the reason I'm saying these, whenever I go to their show, I have done my part, my homework, that, yes, I was kind of in that, like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like these guys or whatever. Like, I could easily sing Carry On My Wayward Song along with some other band or something. But I'm gonna put myself out there and stick around and listen to their set. And I was impressed as hell with what they were doing. And so, therefore, I bought their CD. Actually, it was a cassette tape because that's their shtick, and I freaking love that. So I have now a favorite song of mine that they do. I know the words to, and now I'm able to go to their shows and sing along. My point to all this is Me singing along to their original song gives me and them more satisfaction than me going and watching a cover band play Every Rose Has Its Thorn that I've heard 60 bands play. Um, I get more and they get more when you're invested in their song to be able to participate. But it does take going and doing. I get what you're saying. It takes more effort. It takes more of a leap of faith to be able to have that connection with somebody local. And it's, to be honest, it is more few and far between. It's easier to find a cover band that's like, they do that pretty good. And accept that as okay versus an original band that you're like, man, I really dig what they're doing. I get that. It's, and that's the thing with original music. It's not always for everybody. By nature, it is not necessarily built for the masses. That's why people cover songs that were built for the masses. Josh Poole says, cover band due to familiarity of the music. Original band can be a bit of a crapshoot quality-wise. 100%. I agree. I get that. Oh, man. Scroll down and now all the comments went. Aaron says, I love the bands that mix it without saying a word. Sometimes I'm very pleasantly surprised at their originals. That's very true, too, Aaron. And I know even in when you were with Wicked Shimmy, your set list was that way. Even though it was covers, it wasn't narrowed down to one genre. So there's philosophy in that as well. So I'm not sure which side to put you on. So Aaron, I'm going to pretend give you $10 to go see any band next weekend, or are you going to see a cover band or an original? Lana says, cover. I'm laughing already. I can sing with them and know what I'm going to get. Yes, but you don't know the words still. So there's that. Scott Henry says, Death May Die, an Unearthly Child. Love it. And I love that you even know that. Awesome. Tammy says, cover bands because I know the songs, but when they put in originals, it's great. Okay, so there's two people that have said mix it up. On your comments, such variation of taste in people with original band, it's really a crapshoot on writing music that's going to appeal to a large group in a smaller market unless you're crazy good. I agree. And Richard, here's my honest opinion on that. And I wish I could remember who it was. I just heard this week, and I was like, oh, that's really good. They're paying to see you. In other words, and I've been guilty of this in our bands that we've been in the past, where we're trying to be a step ahead of them and figure out, oh, this is what they want. Oh, they want to dance. Oh, they want to rock. Oh, they want to come and support you. Period. It's no different from what we've been talking about throughout this thread. No different from right now. People are investing in me and investing in other people in the comment section, etc. Write what you want to write. Write what makes you feel happy and fulfilled. If people support that, great. If they don't, at least you've been able to artistically do something that you've wanted to do, that you don't feel cornered in, like, oh, I've got to adjust it to fit this. The bands that we cover didn't do that, so why should we? That's my new philosophy on that. Do what makes you happy. Do it the way that it makes you happy. Don't do it because you're trying to judge and be a step ahead of the game as far as what's going to get you the most people. In my opinion, what's going to get you the better people, again, quality over quantity. Like I was saying, if I can find the camera, I built my hair business on less than 5 people. Quality over quantity. It wasn't about like, oh, I gotta do this and I gotta learn this new hairstyle and I gotta do this color and da-da-da-da. It was like I did this person's hair the way they wanted it, exactly how they wanted it, and I was consistent in doing it every time. That's what people want in music. They want something that's good, something that they feel connected to. And that's the thing too, right? Like, so there's a conversation to be had about bands that are like unknown or underground or local, and they're like, oh, these are my guys. Like, insert band name here. Those are my guys. I love these guys. And then all of a sudden they get signed to make it big, and now they're touring. You're like, I remember when they were cool. I remember before they knew. Where's the quality? Where's the where was the actual fan base for that? Like, why did you stop following them? Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, but my point is, my new philosophy on that is do what makes you happy, do what fulfills you, for your own internal reasons, not trying to jump ahead of the curve and guess what everybody else is wanting. Bobby says original. Band of Freak. Yes, indeed. So right now, as it stands, we're 6 for original and 10 for covers. Just thinking, saying this out loud so people have an idea. Deb, Sardis, yep. Hands down, my favorite local band, and they're not even freaking local. They're from Joplin. I have no shame in saying that either. Christy Pressler, keep in mind original bands do cover in their sets too. So best of both there. Biggest thing is support. 100% agree. I'm in both. I'm in cover bands and I'm in an original band. In Death May Die, we write all of our own music. We also play like 1 or 2 covers in an entire night. Like we don't do a lot. It's not even 50%. It's not even the percentage is very low. So and that's just to have something exactly like what Kim is saying, so that we're able to have that connection, that like interaction, that sing along, and that kind of thing. Travis Tuck says, "I have done both. They each have their merits, but I would like to catch some up and comers before they turn into assholes and charge $50 for a 30-minute set." I don't know what assholes you're running around with, but $50 for a 30-minute set, yeah, that's stupid. But I know you're being facetious, but I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, again, there's such a philosophy there too, with people not really paying their dues, but thinking they've paid their dues, and therefore it's okay. Now you owe me. Yeah. Tell them, get off my lawn. You tell them, Travis. Ashley says, I will say, though, I have been pleasantly surprised by original bands more often than I have been with a cover band. However, I will say I'm a harsh judge. And there's nothing wrong with being a harsh judge. There's nothing wrong with going out and seeing an original band, giving them a fair shake and saying, you know what? I didn't like their music, or it's not my favorite genre, or I really like the music they're trying to play, but they fucking suck. There's nothing wrong with that. At least you've tried. And at least that's a good enough reason to say, no, that's why I prefer cover bands. But just to say, well, I don't really know of any, or it's a crapshoot. Well, of course it's a crapshoot. Watching anything, watching a movie is a crapshoot. When you go to pay $10, at the movie theater, and you pay $10 for your popcorn and all this, and you're invested in $20, and you sit down and you think this movie's going to be great, and you realize it's the fucking shits. It's the same waste of money, and it's original, unless it's a crappy remake, and then that's your own damn fault. So Chris says most local cover band members also write their own originals, or at least were in original bands before. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. Here's another point to that, Chris. Some people don't enjoy the pressure of having to write music too. Some people are good at it, and but maybe they've written songs for 20 years, and over that 20 years they've written 10 songs, and they don't want to be in an original band, and now we have to write I have to write that many songs every year versus every 20 years. There's pressure on that for some people as well. They don't really want that. Deb says there are some crazy good musicians out there, and they're playing in their bedrooms every night. Yep, Deb, and you're one of them. Richard says true. There's merit in being creative. Obviously, I'm just saying it because you said you don't know why people don't talk about originals. Oh, do me. Okay. I do me. There you go. Yep, I do. I do. I will add, Tammy says, I have come to a special place for original bands. Those bands take a chance that the crowd will like their music as much as the band enjoyed creating the music. That's a huge leap of faith, and you've got to respect that 100%. And I appreciate that you recognize that. Kim says, at the end of the day, I want to see a band and see them having just as good of a time playing as I am watching and listening. Yep, 100%. That's definitely the thing. Nobody wants to stand there. Nobody wants to sit there and watch somebody stand and just be a jukebox. That's the reason I have that as my slogan, if you will, for my production company, Sunset Productions. Don't be a jukebox, be an experience. It's the KISS philosophy. Put on a show. Don't just stand there and be a musician. Be a showman. Scott says Stellar Ascent is an original. Okay, so I'll put that down for. I'm assuming that means you prefer watching original bands. There are a lot of both. I have my favorites. Yep. Shut up, Schneider. You blow goats and F the chefs. The chefs. Richard was a young boy. Yep. Chris knows what's up. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to cut it off right there. As of now, we've got 10 for cover and 7 for original. So, as you can see, just right here in our own little community, people like diversity, but more people are more apt to spend their money on something that is a more sure bet, which would be original music. I'm sorry, which would be cover bands. So, there's that. Okay, so let me jump to these comments, and then I've got another question that I'm going to pose. We'll move on. That's a big factor, is the band having fun with each other? Are they interacting? That's why I love Boda so much. They're going to have fun, and you know it. Yep. Al says, Tuck's younger years. Meet a girl, write a song, date a girl, write a song, break up with a girl, write a song, be single, write a song. Dang, we could have dropped many an album that summer. True. Richard says, Chris and I work my fingers to the bone. Yep. Tammy says, absolutely right. If the band isn't having fun, no one is. I love seeing interaction between bandmates during the show, talking and joking around, etc. Did mine even find through? I don't know what you mean. Oh, did mine? Yes, your comments came through. And I know you're messaging me, but I ain't gonna. Sorry, I'll have to look at whatever you said after the show. It's all I could do to multitask right now. My coffee is absolutely ice cold, just because I'm doing all the talking. I'm used to like other people talking. It gives me a chance to sip on my coffee and that kind of thing. So, in fact, that's how cold my coffee was. Yeah, I totally jinxed myself. Earlier in the show, I said, yeah, I totally drink a pot of coffee plus an extra cup every episode, and I'm only on my second cup. So that's how much talking I've been doing. So let me doctor up my second cup here, and we'll move on to our second question right now. Do you think... Oh, let me move this comment. Do you think it's more beneficial to be in a tribute band over a cover band? Okay, now I'm aware that everybody might have a different definition of this, so I'm going to give you my definition. It's very easy. A cover band covers anything. It could be a genre, it could be a decade, it could be a combination thereof. A tribute band tributes one act. So, a King Diamond tribute band, or an Alice in Chains tribute band, or a Red Hot Chili Peppers tribute band, or a Tool tribute band, or a Heart tribute band, or a Fleetwood Mac tribute band. Whatever. That's my difference. That's my definition. So do you think it's more beneficial to be in a band that only pays tribute to one act, or to a band that does, I don't know, a variety of covers, maybe over a different genre or a different decade, that kind of thing? Which do you think is more beneficial, and why? Okay. Scott says, enjoyed it, buddy. Well, I hope you're not going anywhere, Scott. We still got more to go. Richard Brentner, do you sleep Sunday nights? If you're asking me, yeah, kind of, but, you know. So after the show's done, what I do is I take the audio-only version and upload it, get ready to post the next morning, and then I start editing so I can upload stuff on YouTube and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I hardly ever get any sleep anymore, it feels like, which is crazy. And I'm constantly adding more projects to do. So, Travis says, stop telling all my secrets, Al. Cover band more appealing to wider crowds. Tribute band more rewarding to a smaller number of folks. 100%. That's exactly what my answer would have been. Brian says cover. Josh says the window is so narrow for being an original artist. If you're over 30 or don't have the look, the industry is done with you. Being in a cover band seems to be the only outlet for aging rock star hopefuls. Yeah. It's a sad truth. I don't even know what to add or to say on that, but that is a sad truth. Christy says yes. Just look up Tenacious D, and you'll see why it's beneficial. There you go. I like tribute. Yep, I do too, and here's why. As much of a crapshoot as it is for either an original or a cover band, it's less of a crapshoot for a tribute band. And here's my opinion why. Obviously, they're gonna, that they've already put in a lot of work. That the reason they're attributing this person or this act or this band is because they're a massive fan of it, and so therefore, it's not just like, oh, I got to hurry up and learn this new song. They probably have known this song or this catalog, if you will, this discography of this artist for years. So therefore, it's less of a crapshoot. It's they're more likely that they're going to be really good at it, or at least better than your average cover band, in my opinion. Al says, we used to get tribute band CDs at the Growl all the time. Weird-ass stuff. I could imagine. Christy says, they make their tributes their own, but in respect to original. Okay. Geraldine, cover over tribute. Okay. Al says, I'm a sucker for cover/tribute stuff, trying to get Tuck to do some Neil Diamond. Oh, boy. That could be interesting. Brenda says, I like them both. Each have their own merits. However, in the long run, a cover band would be more beneficial. Okay, and that's Brenda, you bring up a great point. I do agree and acknowledge that cover bands have more legs, if you will, meaning they can do more shows, they have more longevity to them, whereas tribute bands, especially here in town, and I don't know why this is, tend to be more of one-off kind of things. I feel like if you're in a tribute band, you should be playing once or twice, 3 times every year, and you should do that for 5 or 6 years, and then do something else. And then in 10 years, bring it back for a show, something like that. Chris says, cover band, if playing a lot, tribute band is really popular for 1 or 2 times a year show, but either way, Travis Tuck blows oboes. Yeah. Oh, Lord, here we go, Deb says. I'm a huge fan of Madman's Diary. Yep, I know you are. Almost Kiss as well. Yep. These bands kick ass, and for me, it's the work that goes into it. You have to know how to shred to Ozzy. I freaking love it. I do too. I just wish that you would turn his amps down a little bit. It's stupid loud. My band, Death May Die, opened for them the first time they were in town, and I agree. I absolutely freaking loved them. Great stuff and great guys. It gives me a chance to hear the music because if some of them aren't touring anymore or are passed on, you were going to get as close to the original as possible, and you know it's going to be good. Yep, 100%. And that should be the goal of any tribute band, right, is to serve a market that people enjoy the artist that they're attributing, but maybe that artist doesn't make it to our area. Maybe they go to Chicago, or maybe even if we're lucky, Kansas City or St. Louis, but they would never come to Springfield. Those are the bands that people should be paying tributes to. Dorothy says, cover band is more beneficial. Tribute, you have to really like them. If you like the music, then it's all good. Yep. Again, I think that cover bands do have more legs. So I guess maybe I should stop and say beneficial if we're talking about the success of a show. If is it more beneficial if you want to have a show and have 200 to 300 people there? Is it more beneficial for you, do you think, to be in a cover band or a tribute band to fill that venue for that night? Travis blows hobo is funny. Shotgun Suckers, Tuck tribute band to Nirvana. Jeez. Woo, man. Scott says, hard to believe, but fair warning, Van Halen tribute, which will also lead singer Greg Fraser will be on the show next week, has been around for 21 years. 21 years. They may have been the first tribute band in the area. Matter of fact, it was advertised as Van Halen lookalike, not tribute. Interesting. So did you have to dye your hair brown to look like Michael Anthony or what, Scott? You have been live for 2 hours. Yep, I'm always live for 2 hours. Every Sunday at 5. And we go 2.5, 2, 3. We've gone as much as 5, which is stupid. So we won't go that. So I'm going to. Well, nope. Let's ask another one. I've got I think 6 or 7 of these that I've got posed for us, and we're now on number 3. So I see what you're saying, and I'll advance the conversation. Do you believe that certain genres of original music tend to gain favor more than others? Okay, so here's a heavy hitter. Original music here in Springfield, do you think that some genres or some types of original music is able to garner or gain more favor than others? In other words, what I'm really asking is, do you think venues are more apt to book a singer-songwriter that does originals over, say, an original country band or an original metal band or an original blues band? What are your thoughts? Ashley says, I mean, what is your definition of the difference between the two? I feel like you're only covering one band. You could easily move into being a tribute band. Yep. And Ashley, I already clarified that, but the quick version is exactly that. I'm sorry, where my camera is. A tribute band pays tribute to one artist. A cover band covers multiple artists over a certain period of time. Is the quick answer to that, in my opinion. Dave Gates, Dr. Shavega says, crazy good Prince tribute that they do always seems to pack out. I've never got to see it, but I've heard so much about it. Yeah, I would love to see it if they do it again. So, Brian Original. So again, to reiterate the question, do you believe that certain genres of original music tend to gain favor more than others? Again, so full transparency, I'm a metalhead. I play in metal bands, I play in rock bands and that kind of stuff. And I feel like as an original musician that plays in a metal band, I feel like we don't get nearly the opportunity that an original singer-songwriter gets. My band is not new. My band has been around for, like I said, over 12 years. I've been with them for over 10. Now, granted, we've had great opportunities. We've opened for a lot of national acts. We've played with a lot of fellow musicians here in Springfield that are fantastic and have phenomenal bands. But we play in the same places to the same people all the time. So, again, my question is, do you think that certain genres of original music tend to gain favor more than others? Meaning, gain favor through the venues or the promoters or the bookers or the owners, etc. Brenda says, oh, absolutely. Rock seems to me the most favorable. Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do just obviously with popularity. Rock in general, and wherever my notes, that's what's reflected in my episodes too. Just right here on the show. The episodes that I do of rock rate way higher than my episodes of country. I love both. I enjoy both. I know a lot of you guys enjoy both, but numbers are numbers, and that's how a bar owner or a promoter or a booker is going to look at it as well. Dorothy, if you love music, it doesn't matter either, or who I listen to. Yeah, no, I agree. Just trying to, again, kind of bring circles of people here in Springfield as musicians together, and answer some of these questions that maybe people are afraid to ask or haven't asked or don't know how to ask or on what platform to ask. So just trying to kind of flesh out some ideas and some thoughts, I guess, with everybody. Depends on the crowd. I think that country bands and metal bands get booked more often than others. Places like Lindbergh's would pick a country band, really, or a blues band over others because, in my opinion, their crowds tend to like that stuff more. But the Outland is going to pick up metal band all day, every day. Yep. But that is exactly what I just said, too, though. That's kind of the downside is then you get the same band at the same place all the time. Like, wouldn't you love to see Death May Die play at Shuffle? Wouldn't you love to see Death May Die play at The Riff? Wouldn't you love to see Death May Die play on Commercial Street at some festival or something? I mean, like, where's that cross promotion? Rock is what Chris Snyder says. Yep. Singer-songwriters seem to do well in our area. I agree, and I think this is the top answer in my opinion. Singer-songwriters seem to do well in our area because it's part of our roots. That whole sit on your porch with a guitar and sing your songs feel As far as other genres of original groups, really the ones who do the best are going to be with the current national trends. A lot of hardcore groups do well because it's popular right now. It's a very good point. Very good point, Dave. It is part of our roots as far as the sit down on your porch and that kind of thing, and I totally get that. It's just a shame too. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this. This is why I'm posing this. I wonder why that. I mean, I get that it's part of your roots, but I just wonder why that is, because I know that so many people here in Missouri and the Springfield area even support so many different kinds of art, meaning art walk, meaning all the different apple cider days and just all the different artsy fartsy kind of stuff that happens around town. But some of the art and original art music is kind of like shoved under the rug, like, I don't really, let's not pay attention to them. Let's acknowledge them, but let's, that kind of thing. So again, and I know it's business and numbers and yada, 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 but man, there should be more, I guess what I'm really getting at is I have mixed feelings about like the ballroom being known as a metal bar, Southbound being known as a country bar, Archie's being known as a cover band bar, etc. Like, where is the variety? Chris says, I think the country scene is really coming out strong around here. I do agree with that. Very much so, Chris. There's some really good country acts that I've worked with in the past year or two that I've ran sound for, production and whatnot, and there are some really, really good bands around the area that's coming up in country. Al says, I like how Spring Patch has a lot of good stuff going on around. Yep, they do. I would love to see DMD play anywhere, anytime. I miss the hell out of you guys. Miss you too, Ashley. And I'll be damned if we don't miss playing. I like Red Dirt Country. Yep, totally not my thing. I know there's a huge market for it, and I think it's an itch that needs to be scratched. There's a lot of people that enjoy it. Again, there's like one mega place to go and see that here in Springfield, and that's beyond me why there's only one. There are no bad bands, says Scott. Totally fair. Totally fair. Okay, so I've got some other questions. I've got some even more poignant questions, if you will. But I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll get on to some more questions in just a couple seconds.
Musicians, do your shows need that extra layer of fun and excitement? Wow your fans with next-level production. Let Sunset Productions help you up your game. We can create custom and unique sound, lighting, and video packages designed just for you and your budget. Let's work together and give our community the shows they deserve. Contact Jared Isaacs and check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Sunset Productions. Don't be a jukebox, be an experience.
All right. Sunset Productions. Don't be a jukebox, be an experience. If you have any live streaming or production needs, hit me up. Okay, so Kim says, I will say, in my opinion, a lot of rock music comes across as not family friendly. The festivals you mentioned almost always have music. Why do you feel that rock music comes across as not family friendly? I'm interested to know more about that. Ooh, Deb Klein says, that's a tough one. I think the metal bands get pushed aside, but metal isn't for everyone. I totally agree. And I'm not talking like hard rock. I'm talking screamo, headbanging, mosh pit stuff. I even more strongly agree. I don't think that there are many country bands either being in the Bible Belt. You would think there would be. I know the metal guys have a hard time playing anywhere other than downtown because, frankly, the usual crowds can't handle it. Crave had a wide variety when they were open, but most bars have a certain picture of, and then I can't see the rest. Sorry, my little app here only allows so much. So hang on, because I'm going to jump on and find out what you saying. Maybe I'll come back to that. I'm waiting for it to load on my little phone here. Richard Brantner says, Chris just discovered Tyler Childers? There you go. Scott Henry, don't be a jukebox, be an experience. That's it, man. And you know what it's all about. Chris says, Richard, love him. Oh, excuse me. Richard Brantner, love him. I'm a big Creed Fisher fan. I don't know who Creed Fisher is, but I'm a big Creed fan, and I am not ashamed to say it. Creed rocked. If you don't think so, you're wrong. Potty mouth musicians like Sam Alama. Oh, as why you think Kim thinks they're not as family friendly? That could be. That could be. Okay. So I've got another question here. Here we go. Dorothy says, I'd rather not listen to country music at a bar, but I do in my car. That's fair. Okay, so do you think the majority, or rather the average local band, is worth, say, a $5 cover charge? So we were talking earlier about quality over quantity. Do you think that the majority, or the average, throw a dart at a board at a local band, are they worth paying $5 to go see? Easy question. Yes or no? Richard Brantner says yes. Deb says, I said bars have a certain picture of what bands. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. You're right. They do. And there's nothing wrong with that either, right? There's nothing wrong with a venue. I pointed out to Southbound for country and Outland for metal. There's nothing wrong with branding your business that way. In fact, I think it's not dumb to be known for something. That's not dumb at all. I just wish there was more places that offered more variety. That's all I mean. Okay, so good. Brenda says yes. Brian says yes. Terry says, I think paying $5 for any band is better than listening to a jukebox. There you go. Chris Hansen, $5 yes. No more than 10 unless they are supporting touring band. Okay, Chris, why is that? Why are you capping it at 10? That's okay, Ashley. Sorry, I'm a bit behind and missing some stuff because I'm playing Call of Duty while I listen. Oh, man. Hope you're not getting your ass kicked. Okay, Ashley says definitely the average or the majority bands here are worth $5. Okay. $5 is cheap for any night out. Yes, I agree. And whenever I went back, that's exactly what I was saying with the going to a movie theater analogy. That's an easy $20 right there for even less time to be entertained than it is to go and watch a band. Dave says, I think bands should set their own value. People pay to see a movie. I mean, I'm telling you, people pay to see a movie that they've never watched before. $10 plus way overpriced concession. I mean, verbatim, this is exactly the same thing I'm saying. I so agree with you, Dave. $10 plus way overpriced concessions. So I think as long as all original acts set the market at $10 cover, then it would become the norm. Exactly, and that's exactly leading to what I believe is my next question. Somewhere in my notes I had these written out. Yes, so this is leading up to what my next question is going to be. Spot on answer, Dave. Love it, respect it. Dorothy says she would pay $5. Yep. Dave says people wouldn't think it's overpriced if it was set. Yes. Al says, no, Ashley, Tony Hawk 1 and 2. I would say neither. I would say Red Dead Redemption 2, but the servers totally suck still. Yep, that's my jam. Brian says, I would pay for a local band before I go to the movies. I love that. Scott says, first time I saw Styx was $2.50. A year later, they had skyrocketed to $6. Who do they think they were? The Beatles? I agree with you and Dave 100%. Yep. Okay, so basically what this is, the reason I asked that is that's it's kind of a meter, a determining factor that, as much as people are like, oh, I don't know, I don't. It's a crapshoot, or it's a shot in the dark on if it's worth my money. You've got almost every person that's commented. There's not been one person say, oh, I wouldn't. Not every band is worth $5. They're saying yes. The majority of the average band is worth $5. So therefore, your crapshoot isn't that much of a crapshoot. Fair? Ashley says, I'm waiting for Tony Hawk Remaster. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and advance to our next question that kind of piggybacks off of this. And this is exactly what Dave was setting up. Should any local band play at any level play a show with no cover? Should any local band at any level play a show with no cover? Setting the value. Deb says, cover prices have not really changed that much. I agree. It was $3, $3.30. Oh, $3 30 years ago. Inflation, people, you pay 6 to 8 for or whatever for a beer. Why not pay that for your entertainment? Exactly. And that's exactly right. Like, prices have not gone up that much for local music, and people complain about it more now than ever, which isn't a factor of the price. It's a factor of exactly what Dave is saying. It's a factor of the value that we've set. Paying $10 is fine with me, as long as I can hear this. As long as I don't hear the same old music every single time. Yep, I agree. $10. I will pay $10 if it feels special. And I think that's only fair. Dave says only if a bar is setting a minimum. Yeah. Richard Brantner, if they want to. Richard, do you think that hurts the overall community? Do you think that hurts them as a band and their own value, or the value of everywhere else and everybody else? Or do you think it's meh? It doesn't one doesn't affect the other. Scott says Bruce has never changed at Archie's, and how many bars have come and gone as he keeps rolling on? How many bars have come and gone as he keeps rolling on? Yep. So, Scott, are you for free shows, or are you against free shows? Dorothy says, if the bar owner is paying the band and they're hoping to make it back on liquor and some. Yeah. But so this question is kind of more towards the average concert goer. What I'm getting at is, are we creating a habit in which people that go and watch live music are used to not paying for a cover? And so when somebody says, hey, it's $5 or it's $7 to come see us. Well, actually, we'll just stick with $5. If it's $5 to come see us, and then, they look around and there's 10, 15 people there, and everybody in this comment section has said, yes, the average band is worth $5. On behalf of them, they're asking, why aren't you putting your money where your mouth is? And I, as kind of the middleman in that, am saying, are we rocking the boat by having bands play for free? Are we undervaluing or usurping our own value as a local music community by having bands that play free shows? Terry says if a band wants their name out there, they may want to play without a cover, but personally I would pay a cover just to see if I like them. Yep. Again, so this goes to what I was saying earlier. This is a benefit to having more than one band on a show. Again, no more than 4. 3 is plenty. That's my philosophy. That's always been my philosophy. Oh, I'm missing some. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Ashley says, no band should be forced to play for free, since a lot of times the door is what they take home. If they choose to play for free show, that's on them. Correct. I'm not asking, to clarify, I'm not asking about what the band makes. I'm asking what the people coming to see them pay. So I'm not asking about guarantees or versus doors or any. I'm talking about when John Doe goes to see a band, are other bands usurping the market, if you will, by having John Doe not have to pay a cover charge to see their band, and then John Doe gets used to, oh, local music in Springfield, I can go watch for free. And then by nature, he's watching bands that are lower and lower on the playing field, or whatever you want to say. I don't know what word I want to use. I'm trying to be somewhat politically correct here, but the bands that aren't as talented, I'll just say it, are going to end up being what are in that area, mostly. And then when you've got the bands that are really good that are charging 10, 15, 20 bucks, John Doe is accustomed now to not having to pay that, and so therefore 10 to 20 bucks is outrageous. It's astronomical. It's way too much. Versus what Dave is saying, if every band is always a $5 or $10 cover, people are used to paying a $5 or $10 cover, then it's not that big of a deal for John Doe to pay $5 or $10. That's all I'm saying. Dave says $10 cover with production, like what Sunset provides, is what I'm talking about. I am not talking about every band going up and playing a show without actually giving them a show that devalues an act. In my opinion, groups should invest in their own stage production. Yep, I agree. And that's the exact reason, to be honest with you, Dave, that Sunset Productions came to be, because I invested in my band that I was in by adding production, and I just kept upgrading and upscaling, and finally I was like, man, I could do something more with this, and so I offer it to other bands. It's literally that simple. Chris says, yes and no. Yes, special events, charities, and so forth. Cover charge doesn't make the bands rich, just able to be sustainable. I agree. So okay, so I guess maybe I took that too harshly. That you wouldn't see a band if they were saying, well, $15 and it's some special something or another, and you're like, nope, ain't doing it. So I got you. Kim says, not everyone is going to the bar for a band. I think it's up to the band. It's the way to get people in to see them to show, or god dang. Not everyone is going to a bar for a band. I think it is up to the band. It's a way to get people in to see a show or in a new venue. Interesting. Not everyone is going to a bar for the band. I have mixed feelings about that. And here's why. It depends on what time. Fair? You don't care about a band playing if you're going on happy hour. You're going to the bar because it's a bar. Maybe it's close to your work, or maybe it's close to your home, or maybe it's something you just feel comfortable with, or you just want to go where everybody knows your name. Then it doesn't matter about a band. But if you're going to a bar and you show up at 9 or 9:30, I'm sorry, I'm going to say that 95% of the time, you are there for the band, not for the venue. So, don't know about that. Deb says, that depends on the band. Are they getting a guarantee or benefits? Or are they just wanting to party and play? Yeah, but my question is that devaluing other bands that don't want to just party and play? Richard says, obviously, you have music lovers here. We understand the value of music. Paying a cover isn't a big deal. I paid $8 last night. If they're getting paid, I don't see a problem with it if it helps get people in the door. I agree. That's kind of my point is if it's no big deal to pay $5 or $8 or whatever bucks, then let's do it. Let's not. I don't know. To a certain extent, I think that it's good to play a show for free to get you exposure and stuff. But at the same time, I think it's kind of shitty to do that to the bands that work their ass off to create a following and stuff. And again, it goes back to the relationship that's formed between the band and the bar, where you're helping each other. And then it becomes not a lose-lose, but just not a win-win scenario for everybody involved by doing free shows. It's neither here nor there. It's just kind of a open-ended question, I guess, is really kind of the thing with this. Chris Hansen says, SS, a musician, I like cover. Oh, as a musician, I like covers. As a fan, I like free. That's the problem. Brian says, depending on the circumstances, I think your name out there would be necessary. Terry says, I really should charge a cover. They really should charge a cover though. Have a minimum for unknowns and a charge more for better bands that bring a crowd. We get what we pay for most of the time, and people need to learn that. I think that's exactly what I'm saying. There are bands that are very good that have played free shows that probably shouldn't have. My point to that is, I think that hinders their future growth. Is my bottom line on this. Is probably really what I'm getting at. Richard Brantner, people will pay a cover for a band that's great over a free band with less talent. Exactly. That's exactly right. If you don't put a value on your establishment, then the patrons will think it has no value. Yep. Now we're getting there. They should be paid. It costs money to put on shows. I agree, Deb. I agree that a band should always get paid. Bands should not have to pay to play and should not be playing for free. Again, I'm asking about the people coming to see the show, if they should have to pay. If I go to a bar for music, not for the bar. There you go. Ashley says, I think it's a good tactic, but yes, it hurts the scene as a whole. I know you're not talking about take home, but that's exactly like you said. If someone gets used to going to shows for free, they're not going to pay $10 to see a no-name band. Yep. Now, and I will, to give a lot of the people here in the comments benefit, I will say that $10 for a no-name band is too much for our area. I do think that $10 should be for an established band that has a good following. Dorothy says, I'm nodding my head, agreeing. Those poor drummers. Brian, how's it going, buddy? Brian says, I think it depends on the band. If they're willing to play for free, then that's what they want to do. Again, I'm not asking about what the band is getting paid. I'm asking for the people coming to see the band, what they're paying. As far as, are they paying a cover or is it a no cover charge show? I think it shouldn't hurt the more established band. Yep. Dave says, if everyone agrees on a set market value, it will build the crowds. Now, the person that paid $10 is more likely to stay and get their dollar's worth, as well as in the meantime buying more drinks. It's really a win-win for everyone. You'll also see more quality acts because the bar isn't just booking anyone and everyone now. Dave, again, spot on exactly what I'm trying to say. Chris says, newer bands can get away with free shows to get their name out. Plus, not many people will pay $10 or more for a new unknown band. I think you're exactly right. And my rebuttal to that is exactly what I was saying earlier, which I don't know if you were here for that. But this is the part where bands that are established, okay, need to take those bands under their wing for a show. I'm not saying like, oh, they need to open for us for the next year or the next 6 months. No, screw that. Have them open for a show or two. That's all I'm asking. And that's how you get exposure to your band that doesn't have a name. Hello, when you go to watch Iron Maiden, who opens for them? Somebody that you know, but is kind of lesser known. And the opening for the whole show is somebody you probably never even heard of. That's the exact same formula. It's just on a local level. So that's my point. Is like what Dave is saying. Get the average concert goer used to paying $5. I'll even go with $5. And then you see 2 or 3 bands. The first band is an opening you probably never even heard of. It's them to be able to get exposure. Yes, they're getting paid. It's just that's not what the patron or the person going to the bar. That's not who they're coming to see. It's well known. Everybody that's playing has that same understanding. They're not coming to see the opening band. They are going to be exposed to the opening band, but therefore they're not undermining the local live music value. John Doe is still paying his $5, and he's still getting to see his band that he wanted to see for $5, and now he's getting exposed to a new band that he may absolutely hate. He may think these guys fucking suck, and he might think, wow, these guys are really good. I need to go tell somebody because they deserve, more people to know. Like, man, I'm excited for people to hear these guys. That's how you expose new bands or bands that you know is the crapshoot that people don't know if they want to spend their money on. Have them open for you. It's that simple. It doesn't cost you anything. Pay them $50 or pay them whatever, and then help give them exposure. Chris says, I have no problem paying cover. There you go. Cartoons in its heyday was packed every Friday and Saturday because they had consistently quality music. They could charge a $10 minimum without batting an eye because it was always a quality night out. That's exactly what I'm saying. But go back to your fourth word, in its heyday. Now, obviously, current circumstances and, you know, the fact that it physically doesn't even exist anymore, I get that. But what about, like, the last 2 or 3 years, you know? It wasn't that way per se. Like, according to what you're saying in your comment, it was better known back then for exactly what we're talking about, but not so much towards the end of its run. Brian says, I go to the bars for the bands, not to drink. I'm a piss poor alcoholic. Brian says, I'd love to play one for free just to play one. Damn, I'm really ready to play. I feel you, brother. I feel you. Scott says, the Raven Age opened the last time I saw Maiden. They were Steve Harris, bass player's son's band. There you go. Now, granted, even though you know who Steve Harris is and you know who his son is, doesn't mean you know his band per se. So that was what Maiden did to give exposure to Steve Harris's son's band, was to take him under their wing and to help give him exposure. To me, that's just the proper way to do it. It's not about charging $10 for a band that you don't know and taking a crapshoot. That in itself is killing the market because you're expecting people to pay too much for too little of a guarantee. Terry says, if a band isn't good enough, at least get a $5 cover, they need to stay in a garage a little longer. I've never seen a band not worth at least $5, even if I don't like the genre. Totally agree with that. Go somewhere. The wrong button. Anyway, I totally agree with that. Very seldom do I feel like this band isn't even worth $5. If I feel like that, I will say that that's on them. They need to do more homework. So, on to our next question then, guys. What about other local bands makes you want to go and support them and see their shows? So now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. What about other local bands makes you want to go to their shows and support them? What is it for you personally? Is it you like their merch, or you like their vibe, or you love the way they sound, or you love their energy on stage? What is it about you? And I know that a lot of the people watching right now are musicians. So as a musician, and I mean, I'm a musician, and it's easy to fall into that elitist kind of train of thought. Man, I'm trying to think of how I can word this. It's so easy to say, oh, well, I'm better than them. I don't want to support them, or I don't want to. So the bands that you do support, the bands that you do like, what about them do you like? What about them makes you want to support them and not have that elitist attitude, I guess? Scott says they are friends and good players and good people. There you go. Here now we're getting into some good stuff. Chris says share of the struggle, camaraderie, music, and friendship. Yep. The camaraderie and the share of the struggle are major factors in that, for sure. That's a strong standpoint, Chris. Good point. It's that we're all in it together. Whether there's, and that's a big thing for us in the metal scene, right? Like whether there's 5 people at our show or whether there's 200 people at our show, we're still there for one another. There's not any of that survival of the fittest, and one band has an advantage over another. It's all for one. Josh says, I saw attendance start to drop when gas prices started going up. Then they changed management several times and brought anyone on their stage. Patrons did not know what they were going to get, and that hurt their business. That's totally fair. That's totally fair. Chris says, I like to see what's out there, how other bands interact with the crowd, or what songs and genres get the crowd moving. That's exactly what I enjoy too, Chris. Is kind of a market research, if you will. What are other bands doing between songs, or do they sell merch, or where's their merch table located, and what songs do the crowd sing along with, and that kind of thing. Totally get that, and that's probably the biggest thing for me. Yeah, and Josh says the fire didn't help either. True. Ashley said the experience. The music is good. The band has high energy stage presence, and their fans can't be shitty. I will admit I like ICP, but their fans suck, so I won't be going to see them live anytime soon. Can relate. Brian says people they spend time they spend time with the audience. Yeah. Dave says friend of friends normally, and just getting to know each other person. And just knowing each person being there will help build for the next one down the road. So more on the sense of community there. Brian says, mutual respect and love of the music. It's always awesome to become friends with locals. I'd rather wear local merch over established bands any day. There you go. Richard says, socializing, and a band that I'm currently in needs another player. Networking. LOL. Obviously, for me, it's a vibe and a passion. If you're good, folks, it's a bonus. Friendship. Yep. And I'll go ahead and do our shameless promotion and piggyback off of what Richard Brantner is saying, I think. If not, oh well. Richard is the guitar player in my metal cover band, and we would like to have 2 guitar players. So if you're a guitar player and you're a fan of metal covers, kind of the major hits, sort of say, let me know. Let me know. Just saying. Let me know. Crap, now I lost my spot. Okay. Terry says, I'll support a local band just because I want to see a bigger music scene and have more options for us music lovers and more freedom for the bands. I personally will tend to check out a band if I've heard was good and may have a friend in the group. I'll also go if there might be hot chicks there. Well played, sir. Well played. Al says, I've always supported Tuck because I've always thought he has talent. Yeah. Yep. And I mean, how can you deny the talent of the red pleather pants too? Am I right? Dave says, hey, Ashley, whoop, whoop. Little ICP action for you there. Lena says, for me, it's about the energy and the love of the music. Being married to a musician has helped me have a high level of respect for the extra work these people put into their craft and passion. Most of the men and women have full-time jobs and do this on the side. Yes, very true. Al says, I don't have a look of musical talent, but I got connections and business savvy. That goes a long ways. Jay, I'm getting you hooked on phonics for your next birthday. I'm telling you, I need to bring my screen closer to what I really need to do. Josh says, the industry told me damn it, Ashley. Josh says, the industry told me the important thing is to be young and sexy, so that must be the answer. Sure. Okay, let's keep it moving. Do you feel it's hard to find... Here you go, Richard. Do you feel it's hard to find other people to play with or form bands together with here in the Springfield area? Or in your area, wherever you may live? Daniel says, buy my PA speakers. I'm moving and can't take them with. Gee, Dan, what speakers are you talking about? You must be talking about the SP1s. Ashley, you're killing me. You're putting on all the pressure. I'm telling you, too, part of it is, like, I'm so used to not having to talk this much. Other people on the show, and they kind of talk, and I'm able to, like, take a drink, and, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to find an excuse. I don't know. Not at all. Well, that's good to know, Brian. I have to say I feel kind of differently on that. Deb says, music people are different than your average person. Most people I know I have met through music, whether through my band pages or met at a show. Music family. Brian says, I'm out for this question. That's fair. Yep, I understand. Not everybody here watching tonight is a musician, so I get that. And that's totally fair. Um, those of us that are musicians, do you find it's hard to find people to play with? Chris says, yes, there are a lot of great people and musicians locally, but just as many flakes. They want the rewards without the work. Exactly what I was saying towards the beginning of the show. Nobody wants to put in all the work in all the areas that it takes to make a band successful. God, yes, too many damn guitar players in this town. Preach it, Ashley. Preach it. What Chris said. Yeah, so many guitar players. Daniel says, PV SP1G, yes, a pair also. I tend to stick with people that I know and have played with in regards to starting a new project. Why do you tend to try to stay with the same people? Is it just because you know they're reliable, or is it because of a comfort level kind of thing? Because if it's a comfort level thing, I challenge that. I wonder why that is for you. And I ask that because for me personally, I'm not that way. So Terry says, it's hard for me to find people just because a lot of us metal guitarists are getting old. Is there a geriatric metal band looking? Yes, right here. Terry, if you want to play second guitar, rhythm and leads, back and forth on different songs, and I'm dead serious, hit me up because my band is looking. I like how this is turned into a classified section. I'm all for it. I love it. Al says, I've done my part trying to connect people with people. And people like you, people like Deb Al, are so appreciated in scenarios like that. And I know Deb has done a great job. Both Deb Klein and Deb Shelton have done great jobs of helping piece bands together. So, good on you. Yes, I totally agree. Says Ryan. Ryan, how's it going, buddy? I haven't talked to you in forever, man. Richard says, I think it's the nature of a smaller market to find people with similar taste, at least for people that are open-minded enough to go with it. They have to be on a similar level musically as well. So yeah, it starts to get hard to find people to work with, than finding them without an ego and trauma. That's a valid point, and we know we've been there before. Yeah, it's hard to find people on your level. And I am not speaking about just playing level. I'm speaking on the level of understanding what it takes to make a band successful. Again, all the points that we've hit tonight, promoting, marketing, etc., that kind of stuff. Bass players will always have work. Chemistry is very important. Strong point. Daniel says because of comfortability and reliability. I've played with several people and each have their own talent levels and pocket of expertise. Whether it is metal, funk, blues, etc., I know who I will call for each genre. That's more like what I do too. If I'm wanting to play an input genre here. Yep, I get that, Daniel. And Chris says, not for a cover band, but definitely for a original band. And I get that too. I think that's a totally valid point. I will say though, I think it depends on the genre of the cover band, and getting people to play. So yeah. Okay, guys. Well, that's all I've got for my questions. Is there anything else before we jump off of here and call it a show? Is there anything else that's on your mind? Any other questions you have? Any other thoughts or anything you want to expand upon that we've discussed tonight? Let me know. Now's your chance. And while you're doing that, I will remind you again, somewhere around here, right here, I've got my cheat sheet for upcoming shows. So again, next weekend is our Van Halen episode where we do our third installment of Classic Album Clash, 5150 versus 1984. And we will have Jeff Ward from the Dirty Saints and Greg Frazier from, let's see here, Fair Warning, the Dropouts, I think, still. I've said it earlier, now I've forgotten. Useful Idiot, the Tool tribute band, He's got his hands full with all kinds of projects. So that's next week. The week after that is our second Tournament of Champions, where we're doing TV theme shows, and we'll have Charles House and our very own down here in the comment section, Brian Betancourt will be joining us in the Tournament of Champions episode for TV theme songs. So that should be a good one. And then we've got other shows. I've got stuff booked all the way until the beginning of October. So we've got some really good stuff coming up. We've got, I know a lot of you guys have been asking about hair bands. We haven't done anything on disco or funk. So we've got so many things coming down over the next several weeks. And it's going to be really good stuff. I'm so looking forward to this. This little piece of paper right here is on yellow for a reason. It's gold. There's some really good stuff coming up, man. Jeff said, Greg is a tool. Yep, I agree. Brian says, I agree with Josh. It's easier because I'm a bassist. That's totally fair. Deb says, yes, similar people. Do they have the same taste? Age seems to play a factor with some. Dang it. I wish I knew what you're talking about. I can't wait for next week's show. Me neither. Oh yes, 5150. There you go. Well, by golly, Brian, join us next week. We've got some we're gonna put our dukes up, man. We're gonna ease the seat back. That's what we gonna do. Might as well jump. Yes, the dropouts. Youthful Idiot is fantastic. Okay. Daniel has a good question. What is your opinion on COVID meets cover bands, primarily playing at various bars and venues that don't suggest wearing masks and or social distancing? Okay. First of all, let me ask you this before I answer this, Daniel. Why are you specifying this to only cover bands? Is that because that's kind of what you see playing out right now, not so much originals, or why did you form that around cover bands? Just curious. But I will answer your question. Grunge. Tool cover band? Tell me more. Tune in next week, Richard, and you'll hear all about it whenever we do our little interview with Greg Frazier. It's good stuff. It really is. And I believe that Kevin Underwood from HTW is a guitar player in the band. Okay. Waiting to hear from Daniel about why he's specifying this on cover bands, about my opinion on COVID. Okay, here we go. Yep. Just what I've seen as a whole, I see more cover bands than originals playing recently. Okay, gotcha. So here's I'll go in reverse. The reason you've probably seen more cover bands than originals play is because original bands don't draw as many people as cover bands. Now, I know what your initial thought on that probably is, well, isn't that a good thing for right now? Probably. However, you got to keep in mind that bands aren't the only one in businesses that are hurting right now. As much as we miss playing, bars miss making the money that they're used to making. So therefore, if a bar is able to have a show and it's on limited capacity, it's easier for them to say, okay, well, we can sell 50 tickets tonight, and they're going to charge $20. First of all, everybody in the comment section has already confirmed that they didn't want to necessarily pay $20 to see an original band. There are, in my opinion, bands that are worth watching $20. And I'm not saying a band, I'm saying a show, so a mixture of different bands. People are more likely to pay $10 or $20 to go and see that. Well, therefore, that creates more of a guarantee for a bar owner to book a cover band where that guarantee is more there versus an original band. So that's why you've seen more cover bands, in my opinion. As far as my opinion on what is your opinion on COVID meets cover bands primarily playing at various bars and venues that don't suggest wearing a mask or social distancing? Okay. I'll just be totally honest. My opinion is do whatever makes you feel like you're doing the right thing. If you feel you should be socially distant and wear a mask, be socially distant and wear a mask. If you think it's all a total bunch of fucking bullshit, believe that, but respect the people that don't. Meaning, don't be all up in people's faces talking without a mask. Don't, on the contrary, if you are somebody that believes in wearing a mask and you see somebody that doesn't, don't go out of your way to be a fucking douchebag to them. It's about respect at the end of the day. Somewhere around here in my office, I have a list of words that I hate and don't want said on the show. Those words include something like unprecedented, uncertain, that kind of thing. Like I hate those words. I'm so fucking tired of hearing those. But that's exactly what they are. So it's hard to know right now, one way or the other, who's right, who's wrong. End of the day, it really kind of doesn't matter. It's about respect. And my point is, you shouldn't go out of your way to disrespect somebody for their belief that it's all bullshit. And you shouldn't go out of your way to disrespect somebody that thinks this is totally legit. Therefore, stay 6 feet away. Wear your mask if you can't. That kind of thing. I don't. My opinion is, if a bar is able to be open outside of city limits or outside of whatever jurisdiction, whatever law, whatever ordinance, and they're able to stay open, I can't be mad at that, man. Do I think it's unfair? Sure, I can go with that. But man, at the end of the day, Daniel, they're running a business, man. If they've got an advantage to some other bar, and they're able to be open because some ordinance doesn't make them do that, that's just a business advantage. I'm sorry, it just is. So my personal opinion is this: I've come up with this term. Feel free to use it. I am what I call mask gnostic, meaning I don't know for sure. Yes, it's helping, or no, it's just all bullshit and lies. My point is, I'm going to do what I can to stay safe, to stay sanitary, and to be respectful of people on both sides of the argument. That's my opinion. I'm not trying to be political with that answer. That is legit, just my opinion. Yeah. Al says there should be a show about local stuff from like 25 years back. Go Hammock. Okay, I don't know who Hammock is, but sorry, I was reading comments. Yeah, I'm not sure who Hammock is, but I'm all for it. If there's bands that were around 25 years ago and they still have members that are in the area and are able to, I'm all for it. I would love to see shows. And for somebody like myself who's only been in Springfield now for 17 or 18 years, I didn't get to see some of the bands from 25 years ago. I don't even know who they are. So it would be a treat for me. Whether that's here or Lake of the Ozarks or elsewhere. Fair. Chris says, I sometimes think music is what happened to the scene. Like the 80s, the music was more party rocking, about girls and fun. Then came the 90s, it was more about being wasted out of your mind on heroin or such. 2000s, music became lamish, no direction, and so on. Maybe why 80s style cover bands do better in general. That's fair. It is more of a party vibe kind of thing. I will, play devil's advocate to that, Chris. That's also a part of that's the time frame that you grew up. For me, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So for me, going and watching a 90s cover band does the same kind of thing. Even though for you, being old enough to recognize that in that scene, they were all wasted on heroin, I didn't get that at the time. I didn't know, insert name here was on heroin. I just knew that I enjoyed their music. Now, as an adult, I grew to know, oh, really? Huh. I'll be damned, they're, wasted out of their gourd. But I didn't know that at the time. So for me, it doesn't bring those memories, but for you, it would, and I understand that. Richard Brantner, wear a mask or don't. It's up to you. I agree. Al says, mask debating. Yep. Hey, I said I'm not afraid to talk about whatever. If it's on your mind, and this is important to the scene, is it not? I mean, this is, it needs to be talked about. So, Richard says, good answer, sir. John Mean says, we do covers, but put our own spin on them or try to find a unique unique version on most. I like that. I will say, I will go out on a limb here, and I'm not saying this about your band, I'm just saying in general. I'm not a big fan of people covering covers of covers. Okay? So, I'm not a fan of bands. I'll just pull something out of my ass. I'm not a fan of watching a band cover the Disturbed version of Sound of Silence. I'm a fan of watching a cover band put their own spin on Simon and Garfunkel's version of The Sound of Silence, the same as what Disturbed did, put their own spin on it. I don't like watching a cover of a cover of a cover. It's too Inception-y for me. Brian says, great answer. Okay, good. I'm glad you agree. I'm not trying to make enemies, and I'm not trying to make friends. I'm not an ass kisser. If you ask me, I'll tell you. Sorry, Josh. The amount of comments and the audience interaction on tonight's show was truly unprecedented. We've got a winner. We've got a winner. Daniel says, fair enough. Stay safe out there. I agree. Daniel, please stay safe out there as well. Again, whatever, I don't care if you're like, man, everybody needs to be wearing a mask, or this is all crap. Do your best to stay safe. The fact that I'll try not to get too political. I really will, because I don't want it to go there. I want it to have to be directly related to music. So this is why I'll say this. I think it's ridiculous that in 2020, grown-ass adults are having to be reminded by the fucking government to wash your hands. Just saying. Wash your hands. You should have been doing it anyway. Men are gross. Okay. Richard says, Springfield needs a good rank-ass raunch comedy band. I know some guys. I agree. There is a market for it, sir. There is a market for it. All right, my final thoughts. Let's see here. What are my final thoughts going to be today? We can go in a lot of directions. To go COVID or not. Okay. No. Okay. So seriously, where did that go? Right there. The amount of comments and audience interaction on tonight's show was truly unprecedented. Yes, it was. My final thoughts are this: I've already got, as of right now, I've got 51 like, love, laugh, mad, whatever. I've got different reactions. I love that. I love that you guys are interacting and have asked as many questions and put in your opinions and thoughts on things as much as you have. It really and truly means so much to me. It's very humbling, and it makes me feel that I'm doing the show for a purpose. I'll be honest, it's very easy sometimes to feel like I put all this work into it, and it's like, I hope people are getting out of it what I want them to. So tonight was a home run on that. I so appreciate it. Like I said, man, these are as I didn't want that. These are as they feel as good to me, hopefully, as they do to you. I know that you guys really enjoy. I mean, it shows right here in the comments that you guys enjoy this format, enjoy kind of the interaction and the conversationalismness, if that's a word, of this format. Just the open forum kind of thing where we have some questions and discuss things. It means just as much to me as it does to you guys. So, like I said earlier, I'm going to try and do that every like 6 to 8 weeks and kind of keep this as a regular thing, just kind of as a check-in, get an idea of where you guys are mentally, what's on your mind, why do I have the hiccups all of a sudden? And even if we talk about the actual what we're doing here on the show, if you guys are like, man, I really love it when you play this game, or God, this game sucks, or man, you haven't talked about this genre or this subject or this year, yeah, we'll keep in touch doing these Talkin' Shop episodes. Josh says that is not a word. Well, I guess I Nashville'd it then, didn't I, buddy? So anyway, okay, well, we are going to go ahead and wrap things up for the night. I so appreciate this. Here's the thing, I'm going to ask one more time. If you haven't already, when this ends, please share this. Please tell somebody about it. I really want to work together with you guys and get this the show and this channel to grow. As you can see, and this felt so fun tonight to have this many people involved. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going. So give it a like, give it a share, tell somebody about it, and that's that. So my final thoughts are, remember that times are hard for everybody right now. Nobody has all the right answers. Nobody has all the right questions even. So just, keep your coffee strong. Keep your love of music strong. But keep your sense of humor even stronger. We'll see you next time. Okay, but seriously, go check out my Patreon channel. Consider becoming a member because it'll help.